Good afternoon and welcome to the World Cycling Centre here in Aigle in Switzerland for the penultimate day, day 4 of the 2018 UCI Junior Track Cycling World Championships. And a packed programme of racing awaits you in our live coverage here this evening, with finals of the women's team time trial, the men's point race, the women's individual pursuit, the men's Omnium and the men's sprint. That's women's point race. Of course, here is the schedule, just to confirm that. It is definitely the women's point race. You had the men's point race yesterday. And there's some men's Omnium competition, which of course will feature a point race to conclude it. So that is the way the competition programme looks going into this penultimate day of action. We begin with the women's time trial competition, which we had a qualification round for earlier in the day, and eventually heading through to completion of the competition with the the men's sprint and the women's individual pursuit later on this evening. So look at the medal table after 4 days of competition. The first 3 days, 11 events out of the 20 completed so far. Germany topped the rankings with 3 medals, 2 gold, 1 bronze. Italy joined second with the Republic of Korea, 2 gold medals for Korea, both in the men's and women's scratch race. They'll be in action together in the point race today as well. And also Russian Federation towards the top of the table. So the riders just completing the last few moments of warm-up for the women's time trial. And to tell you a little bit more about it, we have our quick guide to the time trial.
The time trial is a pure race against the clock, where athletes aim to record the fastest time over the specified distance from a standing start. Cyclists are locked into a starting gate on the home straight, which is released after a countdown of 50 seconds. The rider with the fastest recorded time wins. In the event of a false start, the rider is permitted another start. Only 2 are allowed. In the individual time trial, men compete over a distance of 1 kilometre and women compete over a distance of 500 metres.
So there you have it. As you probably spotted from that, it really is an event for the sprinters, this one. 2.5 laps of the track for the women, because it is a 200-metre track here in Aigle. So in order to complete the 500-metre distance, they will start in the back straight and finish in the home straight. We had a qualification round to give us our top 8 riders overall to bring us into the finals here this afternoon. Of course, the fastest 3 will take away the medals, gold, silver and bronze. We had a world record established as well in the qualification phase this morning. The record which had stood since 2017 for Mathilde Gross of France, 33.937. Was shattered in qualification by the team sprint and individual sprint champion already this week. And she's the new world record holder for the 500-metre distance. That is Sophie Friedrich of Germany, posting a time of 33.922. So that's the target for the other riders to aim for. First rider already in the starting gate. There you see him, the black and white colours of New Zealand, I should say. Of course, that is Shana Hazel-Fulton of New Zealand. Just steadying herself. Final few seconds of countdown. All-out effort required to start, all important. Just 2.5 laps to get it all out onto the track. And this will, of course, establish the time for the others to aim at in this final round of the competition. The top 8 from the qualification, going in reverse order of qualification time. So Fulton's time this morning was 35.896 in qualification. She is around into the home straight. Got 1 more lap to go. And the clock ticking for our first rider here, Shana Hazel-Fulton, in the 400-metre point, 29.563. And she comes to the line now. She'll stop the clock in a time of 35.842. So that puts her into the top of the standings currently, of course, but the first rider to go. And the 7 to follow will try to overturn that time and secure themselves a medal. Next up will be the rider representing Lithuania. Bike just being taken out into the starting gate in the back straight. Meanwhile, Fulton just warming down following that effort. The time she recorded there was just about on par with her qualification time this morning. Just 0.03 of a second difference. So pretty consistent riding there for Fulton. But on the form from the qualification round, unlikely to challenge for a medal. Here we see a close-up of the bike of the rider from Lithuania. That's Victoria Sumskaitė. on board. As soon as the rider's bike is secured in the gate, the timing system will show a 50-second countdown, during which time the rider then has to secure her feet in the pedals. A little bit of assistance from her coach here to do that, and ready herself ready for the final countdown. The gate releases on 0, the synthesised gunshot fires, and away we go. Time to beat for Subskiter, 35.842. Qualification time this morning for her was 35.894. So she's looking across at the countdown board, just gathering herself, just rocking in time with the countdown, and hope for that forward momentum will coincide with the 0. Away she goes. Subskiter of Lithuania in the yellow, green and red colours, trying to overturn that time of Shana Hazel-Fulton of New Zealand. First lap completed. And she's marginally fast at 16.789 of the first 200 metres. Next check will be at the completion of the second lap. She's there in 28.888, still faster than Fulton at the equivalent distance, and she comes across the line now to stop the clock. And her time, 35.208, is the new fastest time for Victoria Subskiter of Lithuania. Next away will be another rider from New Zealand. We saw Shana Hazel-Fulton open this competition here this evening, but her teammate is next to go, Sophie Lee Bloxham. Sophie Lee, 35.743 in qualification earlier today, which ranked her 6th out of those riders who got through into this final of the competition. The top 8, of course, from the qualification round. Very famous cyclist name on the down tube of her bike there. Just last minute adjustments just to make sure it's fully secure. The bike is held by 2 brake blocks essentially on the back wheel just to stop it departing before the timing system releases. The front wheel is just about a finger's width away from the line, so it triggers the start as soon as the rider departs from the starting gate. Coaches usually take a keen interest just to make sure that all is good for their rider. You also see our commissaire there in the back straight with the flag, also will make sure all is good. And when he is happy, the gate is ready, flag will be raised, and the rider will be ready to go. So the 50-second countdown underway. Third rider in this women's 500-metre time trial final, Sophie Lee Bloxham of New Zealand. So a reasonable spread of supporters for the New Zealand riders here in Aigle. Made the trip here to cheer on their riders. And doubtless she will get a very noisy reception when she comes past the section of seating that is predominated by the New Zealanders. She's away. Sophie Lee Bloxham of New Zealand aiming to best that time of Victoria Subskiter, 35.208. Yeah, that new world record mark set by the last rider to go here, 33.922. So Bloxham is through the first 200 metres in 16.829, just marginally slower than Subskiter at the equivalent distance. So too when she passes through the 400 metre point, 29.269. So coming up to complete her ride, and she will retain that second place. So Subskiter retains the position at the top of the leaderboard, and Sophie Lee Bloxham of New Zealand goes second fastest in 35.663. So the next rider to go, just losing out in the sprint competition here yesterday, finishing 4th, but she already had a gold medal in the earlier part of these World Championships in partnership with the new world record holder Sophie Friedrich. Her teammate on that occasion, Alessa Katriona Propster of Germany, is next to go in the time trial. She was just climbing on board her machine. Our camera focusing in there so we can get very best view of the rider preparing for 2.5 laps of absolute all-out effort. The necessity, of course, to use a pretty sizable gear to make sure that you get the absolute maximum speed you can around the track. And of course, that takes some getting on top of when they start. That's why the start is all important. You can win or lose a time trial literally in the first couple of meters of the track. So Alessa Capriona-Propsta is readying herself, trying to overturn that time of some Skaita of Lithuania, still standing at the top of the table in 35.208. Out of the saddle she gets, off she goes. Propsta of Germany. She's happy she got the gear turning. She will take the seat on the bike and then into the back straight she goes. Our first checkpoint in 16.829. She is second fastest. So faster than Bloxham, but not as fast as some Skaita at equivalent distance. Next time around, just half a lap remaining for Propsta, 28.875. She's gone faster by 100th of a second than some Skaita. Can she carry it through to the line? Yes, she can. So a new fastest time for Alessa Capriona-Propsta of Germany in 35.123. So she displaces some Skaita of Lithuania down to second spot now, and Sophie Lee Bloxham down to third. So those are the top 3 slots currently. Of course, still the top 4 riders from qualification earlier today to come still, including the new world record holder who will be last away. Next to go is the silver medalist in the sprint here yesterday, also silver medal in the team sprint as well. Jifang Hu of China. His time in qualification this morning, 35.436. In fact, only 2 riders beat the 35-second marker this morning. That was Yana Tyashenko of the Russian Federation and, of course, there's Sophie Friedrich, who took that new world record. Those 2 are the last 2 riders away. So Hu it is now, of China. Just making sure the pedals and shoe are correctly interfaced, so using additional strapping as well as the clip-in pedals, just to make sure that when they do apply that enormous effort to get the bike underway, you don't pull your foot out. So she settles over the handlebars, quick slap on the back from the coach, and we're ready to go. 5th rider to start in this women's 500-meter time trial, Jifang Hu, the People's Republic of China. Underway. Again, you can see the effort required at the start of this one. It's only 2.5 laps, so you've got to get it all out there, and we'll see at the first point. Well, Hu made a relatively slow start. She's the 4th fastest at the 200-meter mark, 17.207. She will need to try and lift this, but as I mentioned earlier, if you get a poor start, it's very difficult to come back from it. She's still 4th fastest with half a lap to go, 29.303. So 3rd place currently for Jifang Hu of the People's Republic of China, time 35.508. With the fastest 3 riders from qualification this morning still to come, it's unlikely that Hu of China will be able to secure another medal here at these championships, at least in the 500-meter time trial discipline. 3rd from last, 6th rider to make the start will be last year's team sprint gold medalist from the Russian Federation, Ksenia Andreeva. The next rider due to take the start. Andreeva 35.413 in qualification this morning. Equates to an average speed of just over 50 kilometres per hour. So you can just see how quickly these riders go around the track. And that's new world record time of Friedrich of Germany, an average speed of 53.063 kilometres per hour. So Propsta of Germany is still the top of the leaderboard, with some Skaita 2nd and Hu of China in 3rd place. Andreeva is just moments away from trying to upset that. view the riders see of our countdown clock. When it reaches 0, the gunshot, the starting gate releases. Off we go. Let's see how good a start Andreeva can get here. Accustomed to riding the team sprints, of course, part of that gold medal winning squad last year in Monte in Italy. But only 4th fastest, so a similar pace to Hugh of China in the previous heat at the opening split, 17.092. Once again, she too will have to try and lift her pace in the second lap and a half, 29.182. She's gone up by 1, so up into 3rd place now for Andreeva. And at the conclusion of her ride, the time 35.422, she retains that 3rd place. And with just 2 riders to go, she has pretty much guaranteed herself the bronze medal. So that displaces Hugh of China down to 4th place now, as I suggested a few moments ago. The time of Hugh wouldn't stand for too long in a medal position, and it's Andreeva who has overhauled her. 2 more riders to go. Both of these going faster than the 35-second mark in qualification this morning. And we shall see. So Andreeva, 35.422, but of course some Skyter and Propster ahead of her. We've still got Tishenko and Friedrich, so her grip on the bronze medal is tenuous at the moment, because I'm relatively sure that both Tishenko and Friedrich will go faster than the top 3 at the moment, so that will push Andreeva and some Skyter down the rankings. But Propster, if she stays where she is, she will be the bronze medalist, despite the 2 riders who are still to go. So it is Iana Tishenko, member of that team sprint winning squad from the World Championships last year, and she was also the bronze medalist in the time trial in Monte as well. She's looking potentially to go better than that. Here she goes. Let's see how she is doing at the first split time, the 200-meter marker. Tishenko still out of the saddle. She settles and passes the 200-meter marker. She is fastest, 16.580 for Tishenko. So Andreeva's 3rd place already under threat, and so too some Skyter and Propster. Second split time, she's still fastest, 28.493 for Tishenko of the Russian Federation. And at the finish line, she is the new fastest time of 34.645 for Iana Tishenko. That pushes Andreeva out of the bronze medal position, moves some Skyter down to that place, Propster down to 2nd, and Tishenko takes lead position with 1 rider still to go. So that marginally faster than her riding qualification this morning. She can finish no worse than 2nd with just 1 rider still to go. Propster also guaranteed a medal here, but the colours still to be determined, because Sophie Friedrich, the sprint champion, set the new world record in qualification this morning. Her time 33.922, beating the old record by just over 100th of a second. That's how close it was. Can she do it again? Can she better that time of Tishenko, 34.645, and take the gold medal? Less than 20 seconds before she is underway, the final rider to go in this women's 500-meter time trial. Dominating performance to win the sprint yesterday. Already with the team sprint gold as well. Looking for the 3rd opportunity for a gold medal. Sophie Friedrich is underway for Germany. World record holder looking for the world title, the gold medal, heading for the first split excellent time, and she is fast at 16.348, considerably faster than Tishenko at the same point. Looking good here for the rider from Germany, Friedrich, as she goes into the back straight and completes 400 metres in 28.024, still the fastest time. Here she comes towards the finish line, and the clock will stop in 34.045. Not as fast as her ride this morning, but that doesn't matter because she is the fastest in this final and will take the gold medal and the title of women's time trial champion for 2018. Leah Sophie Friedrich of Germany, 34.045 is your gold medal winner. Yana Tishenko of the Russian Federation finishes second with 34.645, just 0.6 of a second slower for the silver. And Alessa Katriona Propster makes it a 1 and 3 for Germany on the podium by securing third place in 35.123. Victoria Simskaita will finish fourth, 35.208, and Ksenia Andreeva of the Russian Federation is fifth in 35.422. So, pretty good day's work there for Leah Sophie Friedrich, new world record holder and now newly crowned World Junior 500 metre time trial champion as well. She, of course, has the obligatory flag, this time with its very own flagpole as well, to wave as she rides around in celebration. Good support here, of course, for Germany. The crowd, they've certainly packed in here this afternoon on this penultimate day, Saturday afternoon here at the World Cycling Centre. There's the final summary of the times for you. Just 2 riders bettering the 35-second marker. Sophie Friedrich, your winner. And of course, Tishenko second, 34.645. So we'll see the medal ceremony for that event a little bit later, but we'll move the competition programme on now and turn our attention to the men's Omnium. And to help you with this one, here is our quick guide to the Omnium.
The Omnium is made up of 4 events and is contested over 1 day. The 4 events that make up the Omnium are Scratch Race, Tempo Race, the Elimination Race, a Points Race. The final standings are established by adding up the finishing places in each of the first 3 events and converting them using a point scale into points. Going into the final event, the Points Race, each point won during this event is then added to the previous total of points. The rider with the most points at the end of the points race is the winner.
So that's your Omnium. We've already seen the scratch race earlier this morning, won by Fredrik Wandal of Denmark. And the tempo race, that was an exciting one as well, with a very dramatic start to the action. And we have a little bit of a recap of that for you, just so you can see exactly what happened in the tempo race earlier this afternoon. This is the one where riders score a single point each time across the line. Of course, if you gain a lap on the field, you'll pick up 20 points in the process. I can tell you that during the course of the tempo race, lap was made very early in the action, and it gave the rider the victory without further need to score points, because 20 points in a race only 38 laps in distance. It's a key point. There is the man who achieved that feat. It is the rider from South Africa, Ricardo Broxham. Caught the main field napping. You can see him just about to make the lap gain here, still with 34 laps to go. So they've just started the point scoring at the front of the race, and here comes Bloxham from South Africa, latching onto the back, and with that picking up 20 points. That followed, of course, with the riders picking up single points as they attack. No more lap gains were made during the course of the race. And that was Damian Paperski of Poland picking up his half point. He finished in second place overall, amassing 8 points in total during the course of the race, with third place going to Blake Quick of Australia. But a massive 21-point score thanks to that lap gain early in the proceedings for Ricardo Broxham. Certainly a good outing for him in the tempo race. It's moved him in the standings up to 7th place overall. He had a relatively poor scratch race, finishing only in 15th place. But that win in the tempo race has moved him up into 7th spot overall. And as you saw from our video introduction a few moments ago, there are 4 elements to this competition. Element number 3, one of the crowd-pleasing favourites, is next to come to the track. This is, of course, the elimination race. This is the one where we focus our attention on the back of the race rather than the front. Those are the riders who are involved in the action here in this men's Omnium, which began with the qualification round earlier today. And then, of course, the scratch race, the tempo race, which you have just seen, the elimination race that we're about to see, and then the final action in the Omnium will be the points race, into which the riders take the total of the points they have scored across the previous 3 disciplines into that one. You can see one rider there is a non-starter here. That's Young Kyung Park of Korea. So the field narrowed down slightly. It started with 20 riders this morning, but Park, a non-starter, he was in 15th place going into this one. Rider who leads the classification is Blake Quick at the front of the starting grid here, just getting some last words of advice from his team coach. Fredrik Awandal of Denmark lies second. Points scored so far, 72 for Quick, 64 for Wandal, along with Donovan Vincent Gardin of France, 64 points for him too. Corbin Strong of New Zealand lies fourth with 60, and in fifth place that is Nicolas Gomez of Colombia with 54 points scored. Equal on points with Gomez, Fabio van den Bosch of Belgium. So the first couple of laps will be free laps, and then when you hear the bell ring, the following lap, the last rider across the line will be eliminated. The riders have a flashing red light in front of them on the handlebars of their bike. That tells them that they have been eliminated. Of course, their name also called by our stadium announcer, their number and their name displayed on the scoreboard. And our race officials at trackside also hold up the flag of the nation concerned. So leaves the rider in little doubt that they have been eliminated in the Omnium. And here we go, the first rolling lap before the race gets underway. Our starts will fire the gun to begin the action. So the place you do not want to be in the elimination race is at the back. These elimination laps. So the battle, of course, to get as near to the front as you possibly can. One rider with a little bit of ground to make up here, not heading for an elimination this time, but next time round. And the rider who is in the danger seat here is Alexei Fromovsky of Uzbekistan. Pale blue colours. Fromovsky trying to join onto the back of the race before they cross the line, but doesn't make it, so he is first to go. First elimination for the rider who is with the withdrawal of Park, second from last in the Omnium standings, and that might have done him any favours going to the final point race. I was first to be eliminated, Alexei Fomovsky of Uzbekistan. Heading for our next elimination this time. Dutch rider looks ill-placed here as well. Just waiting for our officials to confirm the elimination, and it was indeed the rider from the Netherlands, Casper van Uden, who goes that time. Van Uden lying 16th in the Omnium standings. Going into this race, you see the red flashing light on the handlebars on the front of the string. Well, that is a rider from South Africa who took that very fortunate lap gain at the beginning of the tempo race. He's make sure he stays out of trouble here in the elimination as well. Austria go next, so long time to confirm that one, but it was the Austrian rider, number 6, who was eliminated that time through, and that was Valentin Gotzinger of Austria. Race has been neutralised currently, the yellow flag being held out. Such time as we can extract said Austrian rider, who is still in the midst of the bunch. He's got the message this time, so the bell rings, elimination next time. As we come to the line this time, to see who was eliminated on that occasion. Well, the Colombian goes, number 17 for Colombia is Nicolas Gomez, trying to be eliminated. Well, our caption at the beginning of the race showed you that Young Kyung Park of Korea was a non-starter, but he's actually in the race here, so I'm not quite sure where we got that from. But he won't be in it for much longer because he's now the man at the back. But he is still going in the Omnium competition. Is eliminated next at number 41 for Korea is Young Kyung Park next. to be eliminated. Now Bloxham, who took that lap gain at the beginning of the tempo race, who has been on the front almost predominantly each time round so far, now finds himself in the hot seat at the back of the bunch here. Rider from Kazakhstan just making sure he gets himself out the way. I think Bloxham might just have been the rider who was eliminated there, waiting for the confirmation. Yes, he was, so not quite so fortunate here in the elimination race for Ricardo Bloxham. He is eliminated, next man to go. So a relatively low score for him at the end of the elimination race. Of course, all the points added up and then taken into the final points race. On the line that time. I'm going to suggest it may well have been the Mexican, Ricardo Gutierrez. No, it was Kazakhstani. Shows how much I know. It was Maxim Grichin. There's a rider to go. It's very close on the line. And, of course, we await the name to actually appear on the scoreboard. So I won't try and be clever this time. We wait for actual confirmation of who it is. But, well, certainly towards the back there was the rider there with number 10 on his back. And, again, a little delay before we have confirmation, and it was the Mexican that time. Gutierrez, Ricardo Gutierrez, eliminated that time around, number 47. Oh, a crash has felled rider in the back straight. And the race will be neutralised whilst he gets back into the action. I fear it might have been Great Britain's Will Tidball who came down in the back straight. Receiving attention from the Great Britain mechanics and team managers. You see our commissar in the back straight there, Wayne Pomario, holding up a number of fingers to indicate how many laps out Tidball has had so far. You can see the damage to the skin suit there where he slid down the track. So he's going to get back into the action. Swift bit of bike mechanicking completed by the Great Britain team. Tidball will rejoin the action, but a scare for him. Taking a tumble over there in the back straight. He's currently lying in 14th spot in the Omnium, and falling off during the Omnium race, the elimination race, not necessarily a disadvantage. Gutierrez of Italy, who won the women's race last night here. Almost coming together there once again for Tidball to rejoin the race. Bit of physical contact. So, a lot of drama here on the track at the moment. But, yeah, the rider who eventually was the winner of the women's Omnium here yesterday, who was actually Vittoria Calzini. She crashed during the elimination race yesterday, got back up, rejoined the race, and won it. So, let's see if Will Tidball may have similar fortune. He did well to return to the track in one piece there with that coming together as he rejoined the action. So, the next elimination, let's see who we're going to take out this time. No decision. Decision wasn't made within half a lap of the riders crossing the line. The Mexican rider who appeared on the scoreboard as being eliminated earlier is still in the race. So we'll put my confused hat on at the moment and await confirmation of where we're at. But if the commissaires cannot decide who is eliminated within half a lap of the elimination, then there is no elimination. It goes to the next time around. Rider from Belarus being shown the flag now. It's number 10 for Belarus. Zanis Mazur. And he has left the track, so all is back in order here. The Mexican's light still flashing there. So for the second time his name appears on the scoreboard. This time he really is going to lead the race, I think. Elimination next time. Field beginning to thin out. Blake Quick of Australia, the leader of the Omnium at the moment, finds himself in the rearmost position. And I think that might be disaster for Quick. Blake Quick of Australia, next to riders to be eliminated. Much to the bemusement and disappointment of the Australian crowd just behind our commentary position here. But, found himself with nowhere to go. He's the last man across the line. This rider at the bottom of the track. Meanwhile, Russian Federation at the top. Let's see who gets the decision. That was really close, but it looked to me as though the rider from Switzerland, Nicola Delisi, may well be the rider eliminated. That is correct. So Delisi of Switzerland is next to go. Groans from the home crowd here in Aigle, who's the man that removed from the action in the elimination race. A little wobble there from the New Zealand rider towards the front of the race. Germany now, the back markers. Again, no way through, shake of the head there for number 29 from Germany. There's Niels Weisfenning, but the Italian has been eliminated. Number 36 for Italy. There's red light flashing, so there's Tommaso Nessini of Italy next to go. German lives to fight another day, or at least another lap. And we come again. Once again, it looked agonisingly close at the back there. We'll await the scrutineering, and it is the German this time, without doubt, Niels Weisfenning, 29, is next to go. Will Tidball, who had that crash earlier, currently in the first row of the riders as they came through the line, making sure he tries to stay out of trouble for the remainder of the race. Little gap here at the back for the New Zealanders to try and close. Can he get there? Oh, it's a furious effort from the Kiwi to try and get back across Corbin Strong. And it was the Belgian who fell victim that time. Fabio van den Bosch is eliminated for Belgium. Another rider who is constantly hovering towards the back of the bunch as they come through the line each time is Gleb Sirista from the Russian Federation. So once again, I think he'll just about survive there. Oh no, he doesn't. So it is Sirista who is judged to have been the last across the line. It's very close between Sirista and Paperski from Poland. This time the New Zealand rider is on the front, trying to stay out of trouble. Paperski of Poland just alongside the Frenchman here. That's Donovan Grandin. And the rider at the bottom of the track, Frederik Wandal, who is second in the Omnium standings, is next to go. So Wandal is eliminated for Denmark. We're down to 4. Still 2 riders to be eliminated, and the final 2 will sprint it out. New Zealand, Poland, Great Britain and France are in the mix here. But Tidball of Great Britain is the man at the back as they come through this time. No way through for Will Tidball. And he will be next to be eliminated. Will Tidball of Great Britain goes. So down to 3 riders now. Donovan Grandin, the Frenchman. For New Zealand, Corbin Strong. And for Poland is Damian Paperski. So Grandin on the front. And I think the battle here for Strong has been seeded even before they get to the line. He actually swings up. So he has eliminated himself without necessity of people waving flags at him. So that will leave France versus Poland. Donovan Grandin versus Damian Paperski for the overall victory here in the elimination race. We get the bell this time, 1 lap to go. The Polish rider is the man in front as they go into the banking for the final time. The far end of the track now down the back straight. No challenge being offered by Grandin. He is settled for second place. And so speeding into the finishing straight to take the win in the elimination race. He is pleased with that one, as you might well imagine. Here's Damian Paperski of Poland. He'll pick up a 40-point score for winning one of the individual elements of the Omnium competition. As he started in the relatively lowly position of 13th, and he finished 20th in the scratch race and second spot in the tempo race. So he's starting to come good now. So a win and a second place will push him up the rankings when we go into the 4th and final element of the men's Omnium, which will be the points race, coming up a little bit later. Of course, the riders take in the accumulated points over the first 3 disciplines into that points race. So if you've scored a total of 80 points at the end of the first 3 events, you will start the points race with 80 on the board. And you can see our winner, Paperski, bearing the scars of an earlier encounter with the track by the looks of things. But it didn't blunt his pace. Sporting handshake with Grandin of France, who allowed him the win. I don't think he quite had the turn of speed to catch up with his opponent. There is the confirmation of that result. Papierski, the winner, from Grandin second, Strong third, Tidball fourth, and Wandal of Denmark finishing in fifth place. So that Omnium point race will come up later on during the course of this evening's programme, but our next order of business on the track is our first victory ceremony of day 4 here at the Junior World Championships. There are the overall Omnium standings that will go into that final point race. Grandin was pleased with that second place because he is now the leader of the competition, with the Australian riders slipping down the standings to fourth place. Blake Quick and Wandal is still second for Denmark. Corbin Strong is third for New Zealand. And as you saw, Quick has slipped to fourth going into that point race. That point score you see next to the rider's name is the number of points they will begin the points race with. And of course, regular points race rules, despite the fact that it's part of an Omnium, 20 points for a lap gain. And each of the sprints counting for 5 for the win, then 3, 2 and 1 for second, third and fourth place respectively. So more of that later. Meanwhile though, the backdrop has been hoisted aloft here in the centre of the track here in Aigle, and we'll be bringing you now the medal presentation for the women's time trial, which began our competition programme here this evening. Just joined us, welcome to this. It's our live coverage of day 4, the penultimate day of action here at the 2018 Junior Track Cycling World Championships in Aigle in Switzerland. And, it's been a busy day today with its qualifications this morning for the men's Omnium, of course, the women's time trial qualification. Of course, we've seen that competition run out to its conclusion now. Those are the medals you're about to see presented, and still to come this evening. We'll have the women's points race final. Men's sprinting continues. We're at the semi-final stage of the men's sprint. And of course, we have the women's individual pursuit and the men's Omnium to draw to a conclusion as well. So all of those medals will be presented during the course of this evening's programme. You can see our presentation party just readying themselves down there in the track centre. Our stadium announcer is the famous Franco Marvuli, sporting a very natty pair of braces today to hold his trousers aloft. And he's about to introduce the presentation party for this victory ceremony for the women's time trial. So the presentation party making the way to the edge of the podium, complete with the rainbow jersey for the winner, medals for the first 3 places, and of course the flowers as well. So it was a closely fought battle. But the rider who began the day by setting a new world record is the one who is beaming in the centre of that picture, as well she might. 2 riders from Germany making the podium here. They're actually teammates who took the gold medal in the team sprint earlier in these championships. And first to receive a medal is the bronze medalist, Alessa Catriona Propster, making up perhaps the slight disappointment in finishing 4th in the individual sprint competition here yesterday, despite putting up a very strong performance. But now she has a bronze medal in the time trial. Silver medalist, representing the Russian Federation, is Iana Tishenko. To the presentation of the Junior World Champion to receive the rainbow jersey and the gold medal, her 3rd gold medal of these championships. And she took a new world record on the way to this medal. For Germany, Sophie Friedrich is the junior world champion for the women's 500-meter time trial. So she'll have quite a collection of those jerseys now for the wardrobe, and the medals as well. Very proud moment again for the young German, a very promising talent as well. A line of strong German sprinters. As I mentioned yesterday, as Friedrich takes her step on the podium, we were at the presentation of the flowers. German team riding with the name of Christina Vogel, resplendent upon the handlebars of their bikes. And their thoughts, of course, very much with the German champion, who suffered that very serious crash in training a couple of months ago. So I'm sure that was the forefront of the mind of Sophie Friedrich as she pulled on that junior world champions jersey. She receives the flowers, the handshake from both members of the flower presentation party. And time now to hear once again the national anthem of Germany. Yep, I think you can say she's pretty pleased with that one. Joined on the podium by her teammate, Katarina Propster, the winner of the bronze medal, and by Yana Tishenko of the Russian Federation, the winner of the silver. Well, the crowd fanning themselves here. Once again, very warm, both inside and outside in Aigle today. Quite a significant thunderstorm yesterday afternoon, just before we went live, which did take the edge off the humidity a little bit, but today very hot again, 28 degrees outside here. So we'll move on now to bring you our quick guide to the next venture about to see on the track, which will be the resumption of action in the men's sprint competition.
The sprint is a classic short-distance event in which two riders cover 3 laps of the track. Qualification consists of flying start 200 metres time trial. The time trial is followed by knockout heats, fastest versus slowest. From the quarter-finals, the riders race best of 3 heats. Sprint racing is all about the tactics. Riders will sometimes come to a standstill in an effort to make their opponent take the lead, which is the least advantageous position before the final sprint to the finish.
So the riders for the semi-finals of the men's sprint competition began here yesterday, reached the quarter-final stage, conclusion of that last night, and now we're into the semi-finals. And there you can see on your screen the riders involved in the two semi-final heats. Heat number one match is the newly crowned Kirin champion from a couple of days ago, the rider from the Czech Republic, Jakub Stachny, and he will take on the rider who finished in the silver medal position in the team sprint for the nation of Poland, Cezary Laszkowski. And semi-final heat number two, it's an all-Australian affair between Lee Hoffman and Thomas Cornish. But heat one first onto the track. Best of three this, so the rider who wins two of the matches will make progress into the gold and silver medal final. They draw for position on the start line. It's the Polish rider who will start on the inside here. He is obliged to lead for the departure from the line, the first half lap, unless his opponent elects to go past him. So Laszkowski is also the bronze medalist in the European Kirin Champions last year. A championship which will be fought out here in Aigle in just a couple of days' time, in fact beginning on Tuesday. So no hanging around here, and the first significant acceleration being put in here by Jakub Stachny, the winner of the Kirin here at the Junior World Championships. And Laszkowski finds himself battling for the wheel of Stachny. He's getting closer, but he's running out of ground to overhaul him as he comes to the line. Oh, that was ominously close on the finish line. We will just wait for confirmation of that one. It was a very, very rapid charge from the rider Jakub Stachny, who led into the finishing straight, but Laszkowski was very close behind. You can see the action replay there, shake of hands between the two riders, and the confirmation it was Cezary Laszkowski who just got the better of Jakub Stachny on the line. So it looked as though Stachny had that one with a quarter of a lap to go. A tremendous acceleration from Laszkowski delivered him the first blow in semi-final heat number one. So heat number two, one thing I can tell you with a degree of confidence here is that winner of this second heat will be an Australian rider. That is because they are both Australian riders. Lee Hoffman and Thomas Cornish will be the riders involved in this one. So the Australians, good support here in Switzerland. And the riders just pause before they come onto the track. Bikes are all ready to go. They, of course, draw for position before they come out onto the track. The rider who starts on the inside. The Australian contingent here in the crowd being incited to bring forward that well-known Australian chant, which they have obligingly done in support of the two riders here. Identifying them will be a relatively straightforward affair because one has black socks, the other has white, so failing any other discerning features, that's one way to tell them apart. I'll tell you which one has which momentarily when I've worked that one out, but they'll come to the track. Again, best of three. And I can tell you the man in the black socks is Lee Hoffman, and the man in the white socks is Thomas Cornish. Hoffman on the inside, Cornish on the outside. Our starter just making sure both are ready. A little tap on the handlebar to say you're okay. Yep, I'm good. So the whistle will get heat number two underway. Always good to get the first victory in a best of three. This gives you that little bit of extra confidence. It takes the pressure off slightly going to the second match because you know your opponent has to win it to continue the competition. these two, of course, likely to relatively familiar with each other's riding style and the sort of tactics that might be employed. But at the moment, well, I was just saying it was Hoffman in the lead, but Cornish has now taken closer order. They are literally shoulder to shoulder coming into the finishing straight with 1 lap to go. Once again, Cornish takes the higher position on the track and trying to use the height of the banking to increase his pace, but Hoffman has the lead. Out of the saddle for Hoffman, coming under the scoreboard for the final time. Cornish has got the long way to go around the outside. Hoffman on the inside will take that one by the smallest of margins, but they all count, and Lee Hoffman just held off the challenge, and it was a significant one from Thomas Cornish. But it's 1 to the good for Lee Hoffman. Cornish will go away and give that one some thought, I'm quite sure, going into the next one. But at the moment, Lee Hoffman gets the green dot against his name as winner of the first match in heat number 2. So we shall continue with that battle a little later. Of course, the winner of each of those heats will go forward into the gold and silver medal final, and the losers from each of those 2 heats will fight it out for the bronze medal. So our next event on the track will be the women's individual point race. To remind you what this is all about, here is our quick guide to the fine art of points racing.
The points race is a mass start race over a long distance. It's an endurance race, but tactics are crucial to the rider's success. A sprint is held every 10 laps, which is signalled by a bell. Points are awarded for each sprint. For first place, 5 points. For second, it's 3. Third place, 2 points. And for fourth place, 1 point. In addition to the sprints, riders can earn 20 points for lapping the field and joining the back of the main bunch of riders. The leading rider is indicated by the starter, who stands on the start line and points to the leading rider as he or she passes. The winner is the rider with the most points at the end of the race.
So the riders will come out onto the track. 20 riders in total taking the start in this points race final. Came through the qualification heats earlier this morning, one of which quite a number of riders who made inadvertent contact with the track surface, so hopefully we can avoid that in the final. And there's the lineup for you on the screen. And amongst these riders, we already have an existing champion in the scratch race, taking the title earlier in the championships here in Aigle, Jeon Shin of Korea. Representing Great Britain, flying for Georgie, she is the British points race champion for the junior category. And several of these riders, of course, also performed very strongly in the Omnium competition. There is flying for Georgie, I mentioned a few moments ago, with the Union flag on the top of her helmet. Just in front of her is the Dutch rider. That's Eva Bijouard. So the total distance of this race is 100 laps of the track. That equates to 20 kilometres of this 200-metre track, with 10 sprints coming every 10 laps. 5 points for the win, and 3, 2 and 1 for second, third and fourth respectively. Those points added together with any points amassed via lap gains. That'll give you 20 points if you catch up with the rear of the largest group on the track. Of course, the winner is the rider with the maximum points. If there's a tie, by the way, at the end of the race, it's the best placed rider in the final sprint who will get the decision. So some of these riders have already ridden a points race in the conclusion of the women's Omnium competition yesterday. And in fact, the newly crowned Omnium champion is not in this points race. Instead, Italy represented by Silvia Zanardi on this occasion. Race number 21. So the first lap will be a rolling lap until our starter is happy that they're together in one complete group. Then the gun will fire And 100 laps of point racing will follow. Off we go. Interest here for Ireland, represented by Gabriella Homer. Best place rider from yesterday's Omnium competition in this point race is Shari Bossiut of Belgium, finishing 5th in the Omnium. And she was actually 4th in the Omnium point race yesterday, so a discipline she clearly enjoys. Australia in front with Sarah Gigante. Gigante had a struggle in the scratch race on day 1 of these championships. Point she was credited with the victory, but a reassessment by our race officials determined correctly that she in fact was a lap behind rather than ahead. But she's on the front now for the opening laps of the point race, followed by Eva Bijvoort of the Netherlands. 5 for Georgie of Great Britain in 3rd spot here. As mentioned, Georgie taking the Great Britain points title, the Junior Championships in South Wales a few weeks ago. Just a good season both on track and road, 5 for Georgie. The green colours of the rider from Ireland, Gabby Homer. Just the top of the track, just draws level with the Dutch rider. That's the moderate pace in the opening laps here. Everyone just taking their time to settle into the action. Spain currently bringing up the rear. The Spanish rider is Naya Amondrian. We can pretty much guarantee the pace will pick up when we get close to the first sprint. Already it's clear that 1 or 2 riders beginning to think about that and making sure they've got a good position towards the front of the race. Just the first 4 riders across the line will pick up points. It's always good to get the first sprint to come out with some points, just to get your account opened and the race definitely running in your favour. Just hovering towards the back of the group currently is Olna Kulnic, 6th in the Omnium, which concluded yesterday. Kulnic from the Ukraine. She too really good point race here yesterday in the final of the Women's Omnium. So squeezing herself into that front row is Caitlin Rawada, Canadian rider. And there is the aforementioned Kulnic, you can see on your screen there at the top of the track. Still towards the back of the group, 2 away from the opening sprint. So it's Australia, Canada and France with Great Britain in 4th spot. And I told you that the pace will begin to build in anticipation of the sprint, and ahead of the race starts to stretch out into a line. Also well placed there is Ishigami of Japan, rider in the red and white. I think in 2nd spot as they approach the line, but it's France who look like they may just snatch maximum points. It was between France and Japan for that maximum point score. Good move there from Ishigami of Japan, who came from quite a long way back with a lap or 2 to go to the sprint to make sure she was in contention for that. So Laura de Cruz was the French rider, also vying for that 5-point score. It was Ishigami just from de Cruz, so de Cruz gets 3. Petra Sevchikova of the Czech Republic is 3rd with 2 points, and 5 for Georgie of Great Britain opens her point scoring account with 4th place and 1 point. Georgie it is at the head of the race at the moment, at the front of the bunch, still all together. And following that sprint, they've swung up above the blue line here in the centre of the track. Once again, continue to roll around, waiting for someone to make an enterprising move. It was a good opportunity immediately following the sprint when the pace slackens, particularly to this degree that it's prime for an attacking move and the potential to gain a lap. And on a 200-metre track like this one in Aigle, not quite such a tall order as it would be on a more conventional 250-metre track, which most of these competitions are run over. takes somewhat less time to gain the lap in a 200-metre track. The first rider who decides to give that a little go is the rider who picked the sprint victory there, Ishigami of Japan. So a quick look over the shoulder, seeing what damage has been done. Well, what has happened is the Australians have begun to chase her. So Ishigami won't have it her own way for long, and that has drawn out the field, but no advantage gained. 2 little splits further down the line. Once again, 5 for Georgie, make sure she is well placed towards the front. 4 away from sprint number 2. Rider from the Russian Federation is next to go to the front of the race and try to see if she can gain some ground on the front. That is Aigle Gariva of the Russian Federation, and indeed she has got a small advantage. 3 chasers and 2 more chasers than the main field, so first significant gaps in this race so far. And Russian rider again showing evidence of the numerous crashes that took place in her qualification heat, but she is running well here and being pursued by a now formed group of 5 riders chasing. And then the main field, that is headed by Chu of Hong Kong, China. As we come to the line, and sprint number 2, it is going to be maximum points for Gariva of the Russian Federation. Ali Russell of, 5 for Georgia, I should say, of Great Britain, taking 2nd place in the sprint that time, I think. We'll just wait for confirmation on that one. And the attack has continued from Gariva, and Georgia giving chase. She's about to make contact with the wheel, so we'll have a 2-rider leading group. Confirmation of that sprint, it was Aigle Gariva of the Russian Federation for 5 points, 5 for Georgia of Great Britain for 3, Anastasia Koloseva of Belarus with 2, and Anna-Marie Lip of New Zealand with 1 point. 4-rider leading group now. Russian Federation, Australia, 5 for Georgia for Great Britain, and the 4th rider in that leading group is the Ukrainian. That's Olna Kulnich. So those 4 are the head of the race. France give chase along with New Zealand. So the 4 leaders being pursued by 2 chasers. The main field allowing them to escape currently. 76 laps to go, 6 away from the next sprint. Little look behind that from the rider from France, Laura de Cruz, to see the gain they have made over the main field. They're not too far away from catching the 4 riders in the leading group. That'll swell the group to 6 with 5 laps to go to the sprint. More riders fire off the front of the chasing peloton. This time it is Silvia Zanardi of Italy who tries to get on board with the French and New Zealand rider who are about to join our leaders. So they will have a 7-rider leading group. Belgium now find themselves caught in the gap between Charles Bachut. And then Mexico leading the Czech Republic and Ireland at the front of the main field. So the leading group again swells in number as Bachut of Belgium makes the junction. Gap though is not a sizable one now, a very large group indeed, and I suspect the main field may well bring them back before the sprint. We're 3 away from that point. Once again, the rider from the Russian Federation, Gariva, who instigated this move, comes to the front of the race in anticipation of the points scoring yet to come. Kulnich in 2nd place now. In fact, Kulnich takes the lead with the rider from France, de Cruz, in 3rd place. Little gap then to the Australian. That's Sarah Gigante. Those are the riders who will swallow up all of the points this time. We're in the points sprint here, and powering towards the line, just coming through is Gariva ahead, I think, of the rider from France who is vying for 2nd place with the Ukrainian. Big attacking move immediately following that sprint. The rider who has made that move and has gone on the attack is the Italian. This is Silvia Zanardi. Well, Zanardi caught them napping. Gigante first to give chase for Australia, along with Bachut of Belgium. But look at this, the gap has opened on the back of the main field, just exiting corner 2, and Zanardi is not far away from being in the same straight as the rear of the peloton. The peloton split into 2 distinct groups now. So the head of the race is the Italian in the home straight. Then the remains of the chasing group, which is fragmented under the scoreboard. The remains of the main field are in the back straight. So the rider trying to make the lap here is Silvia Zanardi of Italy, being chased by the rider from Australia, Sarah Gigante, and also the Belgian rider Bachut, and they are about to be joined once again by France and Russian Federation and Great Britain. And the largest group on the track is still the remains of the main field. So Zanardi still with her sights set on latching onto the back of that group. When she does so, it'll be a 20-lap gain, and the lap will be hers. With a little chase group headed by the New Zealander there, also far off the front of that main field. But our leading rider, the head of the race, is heading towards the back of what is now a fully fragmented peloton, little groups of 2s and 3s. So Zanardi of Italy is first to make contact, will be with the back wheel of the Irish rider here, Gabriella Homer. The group has reformed, and this is just the largest group on the track. So Zanardi will be credited with the lap gain, I believe. Head of the race is now the group with Bachut of Belgium on the front, with a lap to go to the sprint. They will hold off the lap gain if they can in order to secure the sprint points, and then they too will latch on the back and gain the lap. Bachut will get the 5 points, Russian Federation for 3, then 5 for Georgia, for Great Britain for 2, and those riders along with France and Ukraine also gain the lap. So the head of the race now is Sarah Gigante of Australia in the back straight. 60 laps to go. Should be 59 now for Gigante. There we go. And Bachut from Gariva, from Georgie, from Da Cruz is the order in the sprint. Sylvia Zanardi, the first rider to gain the lap. Now also the lap gain, Olna Kulnich of the Ukraine, Aigle Gariva of Russian Federation, Laura Da Cruz of France, Shari Bachut of Belgium, and 5 for Georgie of Great Britain. So that shakes up the top of the standings, as again 4 riders go on the attack from the front of the main field. Gigante of Australia is still desperately trying to gain a lap for herself. She's not too far away from the back of the main field, 7 laps away from the next sprint, so she's got time to do it. It's Gariva of the Russian Federation, has 33 points at the top of the leaderboard. Da Cruz of France second on 26, along with 5 for Georgie of Great Britain, joint second place for those two, and third currently for Bachut of Belgium with 25, and Kulnich of the Ukraine has 23, ahead of Zanardi of Italy with 21 points. Gigante makes the lap gain. So the head of the race now is the group of 4 riders, headed by the rider from Hong Kong, China. 54 laps to go. So it was hard work for Sarah Gigante, but she has made it, and she too will get 20 points added to her total. She moves into 7th place overall in the standings with just those 20 points to her credit so far. So a flurry of activity there. Saw lap gains and points scored in quick succession, but a commanding advantage currently for Aigle Gariva of Russian Federation. 7 points her advantage ahead of Da Cruz of France, and Georgia of Great Britain are locked together in second place, 26 points each. And once again, it is Ukraine who go on the attack, and Olna Kulnich. She's realised we're just a lap away from the sprint, and would like those 5 points on offer. She's being chased down by Gariva, the race leader. She's in second spot with the Japanese rider Shigami just on her wheel. It will be maximum points this time for Kulnich of the Ukraine. Second for Russian Federation, third for the Japanese rider, and in 4th place will be the Italian rider. In fact, 3rd place, I think, was actually Kolasheva of Belarus. Yeah, that is confirmed. It was the Belarus rider in the position to take 2 points in that sprint. Zanardi for 1 for Spain, for Italy, I should say. The top of the leaderboard now, Gariva on 36 points. That second place score, though, with 3 points, has moved her further ahead. In fact, now an 8-point advantage for Aigle Gariva of the Russian Federation. Olna Kulnich is up to second place on 28. Laura Da Cruz down to 3rd, still with 5 for Georgia and equal points, 26 they both have. Shari Bachut of Belgium with 25 points. So that is the current situation. The head of the race, 2 riders in the back straight. Those are the riders just about to be caught by the main field once again, and the rider who is struggling with the pace now is Gabriella Homer of Ireland, who is off the back here. Meanwhile, at the front, it is Colombia showing for the first significant time here, Elizabeth Castano of Colombia, but she too is caught back, and once again Kulnich of the Ukraine constantly on the attack here. She is trying once again to shake off the rest of the field, being pursued by Czech Republic, represented by Petra Sevcikova. And Homer of Ireland, well, she's well off the back now and in danger of losing a lap when the main field catch her, but it's still Olna Kulnic ahead of the race. Advantage of about 25 metres or so ahead of the chasing bunch behind, the Belarusian Koloseva in second place at the front of that group, and Kulnic will catch and pass Homer. And the main field will do similarly, and when they do catch the Irish rider, she will go one lap behind, minus 20 points for her. Attack for Sarah Gigante of Australia. Sensed it was a good moment, 2 laps to go to the sprint. Kulnic looking good here to take maximum points. Gigante looking well placed in the battle for second. It's between France and Belgium and Russian Federation for third at the moment. As we come into the sprint line next time round, Kulnic will get the bell. Gigante joined by Pursuit of Belgium, and passed in fact by the Belgian as well. So to Gariva, the current race leader for Russian Federation, she moves into third place, but it will be Kulnic of Ukraine getting 5 points. 3 will go to Pursuit, 2 will go to Andriva, and 1 point will be taken by Gigante of Australia. That will be the scoring in the 6th sprint of the 10 that make up this women's point race final. 39 laps to go. So Gariva's lead is cut a little bit by that sprint victory from Olna Kulnic. She's up to 33 points now, 5 behind the race leader Gariva. Boschut in third with 28. Still De Cruz and Georgi with 26, and Zanardi of Italy, she has 22 points in 6th place. So those are the first 4 standings for you on the screen there. 38 laps of the race to go. Plenty of support for all the riders here inside the World Cycling Centre. Lots of noise-making equipment being brought along by the spectators, creating a great atmosphere. Meanwhile, a little moment of difficulty there for the French rider, who had to have a bit of a mechanical difficulty sorted following that crash she was involved with. We'll take another look at that in a moment. Meanwhile, the action continuing at the front of the race. Here you go, and she was just underneath the rider there on the inside, nowhere for her to go, and she came down, but fortunately straight back up. Quick with attention to the bike, and she is back into the action. Meanwhile, at the head of the race, it is Mexico who show for the first time, and the rider who has taken the lead here is Valentina Velasco for Mexico, being chased almost inevitably by Olna Kulnic of the Ukraine. Sarah Gigante of Australia in third place. Homer, of course, of Ireland, lost the lap in the course of those proceedings, which also caused elsewhere in the bunch that crash for the rider from France, who is back in the action. She's still in 4th spot, Laura De Cruz. So it's a short-lived lead for Mexico, as Olna Kulnic make sure that once again she is back at the front of the action. 5 for Georgia in 2nd place here for Great Britain. Just behind her, Silvia Zanardi of Italy. And the ever-present Aigle Gariva of Russian Federation just draws level with 5 for Georgie. Astute with a move underneath there, as the door was left wide open for Pursuit of Belgium to take the lead position. Well, Georgie is fighting with Gariva for 2nd place as we head into the 30 lap to go sprint. Looks like Pursuit of Belgium will get there first. 2nd place for Gariva, 3rd for Georgie, 4th between New Zealand, France, and one more rider involved in that battle for the 4th place. We'll wait for confirmation of who actually got it. It was Laura De Cruz of France, so a swift return to the action for the French rider, picking up another point to add to her score. So Shari Pursuit of Belgium 5, Aigle Gariva of Russian Federation gets 3, 5 for Georgia, Great Britain 2, and Laura De Cruz of France 1 point. Top of the leaderboard now, Aigle Gariva of Russian Federation with an 8-point advantage again ahead of Olna Kulnic. She has 33 points to Gariva's 41. Pursuit moves up to a more substantial 3rd place now, 33 points her advantage, courtesy of that most recent sprint victory. And 5 for Georgia, Great Britain finally moves clear of the rider she's been tying on points with, De Cruz of France. Georgie with 28, De Cruz with 27. The difference, of course, their relative positions in that 30 lap to go sprint. 26 laps remaining. And once again, we have got a rider who is making ground at the head of the race, and it is Silvia Zanardi of Italy who has gone on the attack. She has already made one lap gain during the course of this race, one of 7 riders to do so. So Gigante responds in the main field, 4 away from the next sprint. Remember, it's double points on the last sprint as well, just to add a further excitement to the conclusion of this race. Well, that 8-point lead held by Aigle Gariva. It's looking to be a pretty good one at the moment. She's making sure that any attacking moves have got her full attention. But they did allow Zanardi to sneak away, and Gigante is also making good ground here. So the Italian is the head of the race in the finishing straight, 2 away from the next sprint. Oh, another crash, and that has felled our race leader by the look of it. Oh dear, well that's not good. The race continues. We'll see who's involved in that melee, but meanwhile we're looking for this lap gain here for Zanardi. She is still the head of the race. She's not far off the back of the main field. 21 laps to go. Second place for Gigante for Australia. Meanwhile, the riders are on the floor in the back straight, trying desperately to get back into the action. They've got a distance in which they can do so, but they'll miss out on the points in this lap scoring situation. Zanardi meanwhile makes the lap gain. Head of the race now is Gigante of Australia. So another 20 points for Zanardi of Italy will propel her up the standings, as Gigante is the head of the race. Second place currently now on the track anyway is Anastasia Koloseva of Belarus. The rider who's really has lost out, crashing in the back straight, missing out on the points, was the race leader, Gariva. She's still not rejoined the fray yet. The 2 riders who are also caught in that one are getting back into it. Gigante is still the leader on the track here, but that lap gain by Zanardi, while all hell was breaking loose in the back straight, she gained the lap and now moves up to a 1-point advantage ahead of Gariva. Zanardi has 42 points now, and Gariva 41. She is back on her bike in the back straight and about to rejoin the action, I think. Meanwhile, Gigante of Australia is still the head of the race. She's about to catch and pass the South African in the back straight. Pursuit of Belgium also behind the pace here as well. Gigante continues unbowed, 16 laps to go. So Gigante for 5, Koloseva for 3, Soshikova for 2, and Lip for 1 point as a result of the 8th sprint in this point race. And looking for the whereabouts of Sarah Gigante. Can she get into the pack here and make the lap gain? Well, they're beginning to reform now as the riders have returned to the action. Those who were involved in the crash a little bit earlier. The South African rider about to lose a lap here. Oh, another crash. That's brought down the vast majority of the main field as they came under the scoreboard. Well, the race has been stopped, understandably, because there is a huge stack of riders at corner 4. First rider came down right from the top of the track, slid down, brought others with her in the process. Nowhere for the others to go. Quite rightly, the starter has fired the gun and brought the race to a temporary halt with 13 laps to go. Many riders involved in that crash. And when there's a developing situation like that just ahead of you on the track, there really is nowhere to go. So a considerable number of riders being brought down in that one. Those who not been affected, 5 for Georgia, Great Britain. Zanardi, our current leader. So Gigante, of course, was trying desperately to make that lap gain as that crash unfolded just ahead of her. But I fear that maybe once more the rider from the Russian Federation has been caught up in that one. So let's have another look at this. You need to keep your attention at the top of the track. Riders moving up. French rider was moving up. She took down Pursuit of Belgium. And you can see the Spanish rider cartwheeling across the top of the pile of bodies in front of her. Well, high drama here in the World Cycling Centre. Just tell you the standings before the race was brought to a conclusion. Zanardi of Italy, 42 points. The rider who was leading disappeared from the standings, so the Russian Federation rider Aigle, who was involved in the previous crash, did not rejoin the race. Applause here for those riders who are back on two wheels, just dusting themselves down, getting themselves back into preparing to resume the race when the rest of the track is clear. Still one or two riders being attended to down there, so it's going to be some while yet before we can resume the action. Let's continue that review of the top of the point standings when the crash occurred. Zanardi with 42, Kulnich in second place for the Ukraine with 33, Basiut of Belgium, who wasn't caught up in that crash, she has 33 points as well. 5 for Georgie, managed to avoid it, 28 points for the British rider. Fifth place for Laura de Cruz of France with 27. And it was de Cruz, looking at that video replay we just showed you, looked like the rider who was first to come adrift of her machine and perhaps was the instigator of that crash, as she was certainly caught up in it. The second time she's been involved in a dramatic moment here during this junior women's point race final. You can see a considerable amount of track repair tape is going to be required here. That huge gouge down the track that marks the passage of one of the riders' bikes on the top of the banking right to the bottom. Still a couple of riders being attended to on the corner, so we wish them well. Meanwhile, Basiut, who was also caught up in that one, is back on her bike. Just shaking her head, just trying to get her mind back on the job in hand. Of course, it's one of those moments, as I mentioned, when the riders are piling up in front of you and you realise you're going to end up on top of them as well. And Basiut was taken out by that crash. De Cruz, it looked like, who took away the wheel of Basiut. But at least the Belgian is back on her bike. And she lies joint second, actually, 33 points with Olna Kulnich. Still Zanardi, who managed to avoid the pilot, is the only rider who has gained 2 laps during the course of this race. She has a total of 40 points from lap gains and 2 from sprint points amassed as well. See the brush has been brought out now to try and remove some of the track debris. We've had quite a few tumbles today. Certainly kept our track maintenance crew busy. Doubtless the local supplier of adhesive tape also with quite a good order for next week. You see them just smoothing out the gouge in the track before applying the tape to make the surface nice and smooth again. And unfortunately, there are still riders being attended to by the medical team at corner 4. So until such time as that situation has been taken care of, the riders will continue just to roll around the apron here, just trying to keep the legs a little bit of freshness in them. Of course, there is a 100 lap point race. They've just got 13 laps to go, so they were in full flight when that occurred. Sarah Gigante of Australia was not far away from making the lap gain. I think I can say with a degree of confidence that all of the riders now are being taken away from the point where the crash occurred. All look to be okay, so that's good news. I think just one rider unfortunately being stretched away there just as we see them go into the scoreboard, so we wish her well. Well, it is part and parcel of bike racing, unfortunately, and it's never good to see that happen, especially when so many riders are involved at such a critical stage of the race as well. So it looks like the race will be resumed with 16 laps to go, so 3 laps added back on to give the riders a little bit of opportunity before the penultimate sprint to get back into the action. So I can just confirm, just had the information from our Commissar President that all the riders will restart on the fence. in one group. Of course, it was almost impossible to reassemble the race scenario as it stood. The riders spread all around the track, which is unfortunate for Sarah Gigante because she was not too far away from the lap gain when the crash occurred. And I suspect a representation is currently being made by the Australian camp about that particular fact. But a difficult situation to resolve. So the riders coming back, ready to line up for the start. They will all start on the fence, I believe. Well, I can now confirm, actually, Sarah Gigante has been restored to the position she was in, so she will start in the back straight. So the advantage she had has been recredited to her. So good work from our judges there to work out where people were. Everyone else is starting in one group in the home straight, but Gigante, who was just moments away from the lap gain, had that crash not occurred, has been given a half-lap advantage on the restart with 16 laps to go. So Zanardi of Italy, 42 points. Kulnich of Ukraine, 33. Bossut of Belgium, involved in the crash, but back up and ready to restart, 33 points for her. 5 for Georgie of Great Britain on 28. Laura de Cruz of France on 27. And Sarah Gigante of Australia, 26 points. 1 lap gain already. And she was part way to a second. Just trying to gain a little bit more ground in the back straight, but a little word in the ear from one of our UCI commissaires has said that's a bit much advantage. So she's returning back to the half-lap advantage that she was credited with. There we go. I think she was just having a chat with a friend in the crowd. That was why she'd gone a little further along the track. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt. So we're almost ready to restart. The track repair completed, the debris removed. The hard-working track repair crew head away from the edge of the track. So we'll resume with 16 laps to go, 2 sprints to go, and of course the final sprint in the race will count for double points. So instead of 5, 3, 2 and 1, it'll be 10, 6, 4 and 2. Having said that though, the keen eye of our race officials have just spotted that there is yet more work for our track repair team to do. And I think this may well be a side effect of the previous crash that happened in the back straight. The damage that is noted is on corner 2, that is the riders enter the back straight. So I think it is more sticky tape, sandpaper and brush and shovel work required. So a further delay, unfortunately, for the points race riders here. Just looking just underneath our commentary position here, rider from New Zealand, and that's Anna-Marie Lip. The face of frustration for Lip. She was anxious to get back into the action, as are the others. Now further conversations taking place in the centre of the track as well regarding the relative position of Sarah Gigante compared to the rest of the pack. Our camera focusing on the area of damage that is awaiting repair at corner 2. Well, no shortage of drama here on the penultimate day of the World Junior Track Cycling Championships. Not the sort of drama we like to see. But, so the second of the qualification heats this morning was involved quite a bit of unintended contact with the track as well. A little bit of youthful exuberance perhaps on occasion gets the better of the riders. So our commissaire president is en route to have a look at the damage as well. Meanwhile, the riders waiting patiently here are being proffered the offer of a bottle. It's very, very warm here in the track, and the rider from Belgium there, Jari Bachut, trying to fan herself to keep her a little bit cool. The long ladder has been called for and has been produced from whence it is stored, and is on its way to corner 2. Of course, racing can't continue with any form of damage to the track, because the inevitable result would be a puncture, and a blowout at speed is never a good thing under any circumstances. Now you can see the skilled technician ascending the great heights. Quite a small gouge there it is, but it is nonetheless something that needs covering over. The rough edge would be an invitation to a puncture if the riders were to make contact with that particular part of the track. If you're with us on day 1 and you're a keen follower of the art of track repair, you'll note that it's masking tape that is being used here in Aigle, whereas other tracks around the world tend to favour the fabric type tape, which has a particular brand name. You know the one I'm referring to. And another bit here that's in a previously area of repair that you see there, that has been filled in with the quick drying filler. Just above that though, 2 more scratch marks from the crash that happened in the back straight a little bit earlier, prior to the more sizable coming together just under the scoreboard. Well, with such extensive coverage of track repairs during the past 4 days, I think we could perhaps have our own World Championship for the repairing of tracks. Secretary Commissaire there, Nancy Albers, just looking at the screen. They're just having a look at the race situation before that problem occurred, just to make sure that they're treating all the riders fairly by trying to restore the advantage they held before the crash occurred. Commissaires, the gentleman in the blue shirts down there at the side of the track, so deep in conversation. Well, I think I can confirm that the second set of track repairs have now been completed satisfactorily. More scrutiny, though, being given to the video of the race prior to that calamitous coming together at corner 4. Well, as I said, the only thing I can say here is one does feel for the riders who are hanging onto the fence here at the side of the track. Been there for some considerable time. The legs will be beginning to cool down, and no doubt it'll be a nervous start when the race does eventually resume. I'm not going to attempt to lip read in New Zealander, but I think a little bit of frustration there being expressed by Anna-Marie Lipp as she waits to resume. Well, I think we are good to go. So the situation, Sarah Gigante of Australia was the rider who will start in the back straight. She will have a half-lap advantage, because that is approximately the advantage she had before the crash occurred. Everyone else will restart in the main field in the home straight. So off we go for the final 16 laps. And there is Gigante back into action and trying to resume where she left off by gaining the lap, by catching up the rear of the main field. It will be... well, still showing 16 laps on the lap board. It'll be 15 this time round. There we go for Gigante, that's it. And she will be 5 laps away from the sprint, and she's getting close to the lap gain. The main field not fully back into top speed action yet, so Gigante has capitalised on the advantage that was restored to her, and she is literally a handful of metres away from that lap gain she almost had before the crash occurred. We've got 4 laps to go to the penultimate sprint. On the front is the ever-present Olna Kulnic, followed by Pfeiffer Georgi. Sarah Gigante not yet on the back of that string and not yet gaining the 20 points for the lap. If she hangs on another 3 laps, she can pick up the 5 points for the sprint and then make the lap gain. It's a bit of a gamble to make when you're so close to catching the rear of the main field. 2 to go to the sprint. Gigante of Australia, she lies 5th with 26 points. So it's only by means of a lap gain that she will have a chance to contest the medals here. But the extra 5 points that the sprint next time around will give her will definitely be worth having. So very wisely, she has hung off the back of the bunch here to take the 5 points, which she will do now. So 5 points for Gigante. Will she now close down the main field and make the lap to give her an extra 20? Let's look for the sprint here for second place. So we come around, and it is Zanardi of Italy versus 5 for Georgie. Zanardi second, Georgie third, and I think Kolnic in fourth place. A little split at the back of the group. Gigante catches the Spanish rider, but she's not yet fully on to the rear of the main field. She's almost there. Well, it's been a long time coming, that lap gain, but I now think we can say that Sarah Gigante of Australia has gained the lap, and with it 20 points, so 25 points in total after the restart of the race for Sarah Gigante. She goes to the top of the leaderboard. She has a 6-point advantage ahead of Silvia Zanardi of Italy. Olga Kolnic in third place with 34 points, followed by Shari Basut of Belgium on 33, and 5 for Georgia of Great Britain on 30 points. That is the situation. One sprint remaining, 10 points available. So all of the medal positions are still under threat. Gigante's lead is 6 points ahead of Zanardi. Zanardi has a more sizable advantage ahead of Kolnic, but Kolnic, if she picked up the 10 points, could still hang on to that bronze medal. Zanardi on 45. That 11-point buffer should see her secure a medal as well, but she would dearly love to take the gold away from Sarah Gigante. It will all come down to the final sprint. 5 laps to go, too late for a lap gain now. New Zealand at the head of the race as they swing up, coming out of corner 4, and underneath the pack comes the rider from the Netherlands as she attempts to get clear at the head of the race and pick up some more points, but it is a little bit late in the race for Bijord of the Netherlands. She has no points at all at the moment. So will make little difference, but of course it will change the whole points situation available for those riders who are vying for overall victory here. And of those, Olga Kolnic is currently in second place here. Zanardi is on her wheel for Italy. The Italian rider desperately wants the 10 points available on the line next time. She has a 6-point deficit to make up, whereas Sarah Gigante is off the back. That effort required to gain the lap has caused her to fall off the rear of the main field. So Zanardi looking in a good position here, but so too is Basut of Belgium. She's got 33 points, 10 points would give her 43, and that would move her ahead of Kolnic. It is Zanardi though, looking for the 10 points. That will give her victory. Here comes Zanardi of Italy, and she has done it. It is victory for Silvia Zanardi of Italy, winning the final sprint, 10 points, and it's the 45-point she had, gives her 55 points. A valiant effort indeed from Sarah Gigante. She took the penultimate sprint, maximum points in that one, and gained the lap, but she will finish in the silver medal position with 51 points scored. And in third place, it's Shari Basut of Belgium with 39 points. Well, you cannot argue that was an action-packed point race for a variety of reasons, right down to the nail-biting final run to the line. 2 riders during the course of that race gained 2 laps. Silvia Zanardi of Italy and Sarah Gigante of Australia, but with Zanardi at the front of the race at that final sprint and Gigante at the back, it's 10 points for Zanardi, giving her 55 in total and taking the gold medal. Celebrations nevertheless for Sarah Gigante of Australia, picking up the appropriate flag here from the Australian supporters just behind our commentary position here, and she'll be very pleased with that, having had a disappointment in the scratch race a couple of days ago. And in the back straight, also celebrating, is Shari Basut, involved in that crash a little bit earlier in the race. Did well to get back from it, and you can see the emotion there from Basut, and she is warmly embraced by her friends and no doubt family there in the back straight. But she is coming out of this one with a bronze medal in the Junior World Championships. But there is your gold medal winner, Silvia Zanardi. She timed her final run to the line to absolute perfection to pick up the 10 points she needed to overhaul Gigante. She went into the sprint with a 6-point deficit. They sportingly shake hands. Great race ridden by both of those riders, despite the trying circumstances that surrounded them. Well, we will see the well-earned victory ceremony for that one a little bit later on during the course of this evening's action here on day 4 of these Junior World Championships. There is confirmation, if you needed it, of the overall result. Zanardi, your winner, and gold medalist Gigante second for Australia with the silver, and Bossut in third place with the bronze medal for Belgium. And just missing out on a medal position, flying for Georgia of Great Britain, finishing in 4th place, equal on points with Olna Kulnic, who was certainly the most attacking rider in the race, was Kulnic, but not able to amass quite enough points to challenge for a medal. But those are the riders, all of those riders gained at least 1 lap during the course of the race. And of course Zanardi and Gigante, they took 2 lap gains of the way to those gold and silver medal positions. So we will now return to the action in the men's sprint competition. Riders have been waiting perhaps a little longer than anticipated with that extended delay during the course of the point race, whilst the track repairs were carried out. Just to refresh your memory, we are in the semi-final stage of the men's sprint competition. Best of 3 in the 2 heats that make up these semi-finals. Heat number 1, Jakub Staszny of Czech Republic, the Kirin champion, is doing battle with Cezary Laszkowski of Poland, who took a silver medal in the team sprint, and it was Laszkowski who took victory in the first meeting. So Staszny will need to have an answer to this one. So they swap over the starting order this time around, which will mean that Staszny of the Czech Republic will start on the inside, and Laszkowski of Poland will start on the outside. Both riders adopting a relatively high position on the track. There's actually no specific requirement as to where the riders do line up on the track, provided the inside rider is lower down than the outside rider. Sometimes they try and crowd towards the top of the track in order to use the sweep of the banking into the first corner to gain a little bit of extra pace. So 3 laps of the track for the sprint. Laszkowski in the red and white of Poland with 1 match advantage. So the pressure is upon Jakub Staszny of the Czech Republic to try and answer back here. Away they go. Staszny obliged to lead for the first half lap. And you can see what we mentioned there, the height of the track that's being deployed by Cezary Laszkowski. He's gone very early indeed here. Already opened the advantage, fully committed with still 2 laps to go. Well, he's played all of his cards on the first lap here, and Staszny is beginning to close him down now. Laszkowski of Poland obviously is confident he can hold off the challenge of the Kirin champion, but Jakub Staszny begins to draw level as they come down the back straight and under the scoreboard for the final time. Still on the inside of the track, the Polish rider. Well, he took it on from the front, and he's taken it on the line as well. So that gamble paid off. He literally launched himself away from the line, took the lead and outpaced Jakub Staszny, despite a very valiant effort from the Czech Republic rider to try and overhaul him. And in 2 straight rides, the powerhouse that is Cezary Laszkowski of Poland will progress into the gold and silver medal final. Well, that is certainly one way to ride the sprint, but you've got to have the confidence you can keep that pace going to defeat your opponent. No tactical battling there. It was an absolute race of speed, and the man who had the better pace was Cezary Laszkowski of Poland. So he's through to the gold and silver medal final. His opponent will be an Australian. The question is which one of the 2 Australians who are about to come onto the track it will be. They are Lee Hoffman and Thomas Cornish. Lee Hoffman is the rider who was the victor in the first match. He will be looking to emulate the feat of Cezary Laszkowski, not necessarily with the same tactics, but certainly with the same end result, i.e. winning in 2 straight rides and avoiding the necessity for a decider. So the first rider to arrive on the line. Number 115 is Lee Hoffman. Again, just to aid identification if you're just glancing at your TV screen or whichever smart device you're watching our live coverage upon. The rider with the black socks, number 115, is Lee Hoffman. The rider with the white socks, number 114, is Thomas Cornish. Cornish on the inside, Hoffman on the outside. Cornish has to win this one to force a third and deciding encounter. Both riders ready. And away we go. Cornish dropping down to the bottom of the track. Hoffman taking a slightly higher position, to which Cornish responds by drifting up a little further himself. A couple of bike lengths between them. Oh, quick dive down there. A little fake move there from Hoffman. But as Cornish responded, Hoffman went the other way around him and has now taken the lead. 1.5 laps to go. Cornish fires again. Hoffman on the inside, Cornish on the outside. This is going to be a real battle with 1 lap to go. And once again, it is Hoffman on the inside as Cornish tries to use the height of the banking in corner 2 to his advantage. Coming under the scoreboard. Hoffman with the lead. Can Cornish come around the outside? It's going to be close on the line as they come towards the line. Oh, that was ever so close. And I think that Thomas Cornish just got the advantage over Lee Hoffman on the line. We will wait confirmation of that one. Yes, it is confirmed. Thomas Cornish managed to come around the outside of Lee Hoffman, and that one will go to a third and final decider. Well, that was a really strong sprint there. You saw Thomas Cornish use the full height of the track to launch himself down the back straight, overhauled Hoffman as they came to the line, and he's squared that one. 1 match all. Lee Hoffman and Thomas Cornish will go to the decider. Some appropriate music being played in the Aigle velodrome here for the Australian contingent. And there you see, 1 green dot each means that column 3 becomes all important. So the winner of the third heat will be the one who goes forward into the gold and silver medal final to meet Cezary Leszkowski of Poland. And the loser of that decider will take on Jakub Stajny of the Czech Republic for the bronze medal. So we're going to move to the victory ceremony now for that very hard-fought women's points race we saw a few moments ago. Still got a feast of action ahead for you during the course of this penultimate day of action here at the 2018 UCI Junior Track Cycling World Championships, live from Aigle in Switzerland. Following this victory ceremony, we will be giving you the decider in that sprint match between Hoffman and Cornish. Then we'll bring you the women's individual pursuit finals. We then move into the first of 3 matches in the men's sprint finals. We also have the women's individual pursuit victory ceremony, of course, and then the final of the men's Omnium. That's the point race in the men's Omnium. So all that's still to come. So stay tuned, as they say, and don't miss a moment of the action. We're live with you on both the UCI YouTube channel, also on Facebook as well. And if you want to add your comments to the comment section on the YouTube live stream, you're more than welcome to do so. We actually got a few of them here, just having a look through. And if you have a question you want to ask us, then you can certainly do so via that section of our YouTube live feed. So, down in the track centre, the backdrop has been raised aloft once again, ready for the women's point race victory ceremony. There are the 3 riders involved, reflecting on a drama-filled point race final. Silvia Zanardi in the middle, the Italian, pale blue colours, dark blue colours I should say, they're on the pale blue colours, is Shari Basut of Belgium. Her fans fanning herself up there on the concourse. And the other rider seated here awaiting the medal ceremony is Sarah Giganti of Australia, who can barely contain her excitement either. Look at that big smile on her face. Comparing battle scars as well at the end of that one. So the medal ceremony about to take place for the 2018 UCI Junior Track Cycling World Championship Women's Points Race. the anthem of the UCI, which will bring our presentation party and the riders forward to the podium. Otto, the one of the vice presidents of the UCI, will be the medal and jersey presenter on this occasion. He's also president of the UCI Track Commission. UCI, of course, the world governing body of cycle sport, and it is in their home here in Aigle that the World Cycling Centre, this 200-metre track, is located. So the bronze medal for Belgium and Shari Bossut. Caught up in that dramatic pileup, but re-entered the race and managed to secure the bronze medal. Behind me, the cheers erupt from the Australian contingent as their rider is about to receive her silver medal, Sarah Gigante. That lap gain, which was so delayed by the crash, but she was restored to her rightful place on the track and managed to gain it after having taken the penultimate sprint and finishing in second place. But the winner of the women's point race, the world champion, is from Italy. It is Silvia Zanardi, who will receive the world champion's jersey and the gold medal. Of Italian support, of course, here in Switzerland. And there is the gold medal for your winner of the junior women's points race title, Silvia Zanardi of Italy. Winners will now receive the flower presentation. And Frederic Meunier, director of the World Cycling Centre, a man himself accustomed to taking world titles, is our flower presenter in his illustrious racing career. Been a director here at the World Cycling Centre since 2009. And now we will hear the national anthem of our gold medal winner, Italy. completely unscientific survey of the best national anthem singers of these World Championships. The Italians, I think, are pretty close to the top of the rankings, joining in with great gusto. celebrating that great win by Silvia Zanardi. Second place for Sarah Giganti of Australia, and third for Shari Bossut of Belgium. So, the conclusion of that victory ceremony, and with only just a few moments to regain the composure, we will bring you the decider now in the men's sprint semi-final match 2. Heat 2, I should say, match 3. It will be between Lee Hoffman and Thomas Cornish of Australia. Proving to be a great battle between these two, with Hoffman taking victory in match 1, Cornish hitting back by taking victory in match 2. So it all comes down to the decider for a place in the gold and silver medal final to meet Cezary Laszkowski of Poland. Well, just a short delay here before the riders come out to the track. It is quite recently that they completed the last the matches. Match 2, there's actually a stipulated time period that must elapse before the riders complete another round in the sprint competition in order to regain your reserves of strength ready for the deciding moments of this competition. So, of course, this men's sprint will be played out to its conclusion here this evening. Finals upcoming once we have decided the outcome of this last of the semi-final heats. Well, I'm pleased to be able to relate that, as far as we understand, the rider who was involved in that crash in the women's point racer we saw being stretched away, no especially serious injury has befallen her, so that is a relief to hear. We wish her a speedy recovery from the situation that she found herself in. So, just looking down here on the very busy track centre in the World Cycling Centre, see the rather unique roof structure that hovers above the track here. It's almost like being in a circus big top sometimes when you look up there, and there are the Australians in good mood just behind us. There's a little wave there from our commentary position. And they're having a nice sing-song here while they wait to bring our two riders out here, and here they come. So Lee Hoffman and Thomas Cornish. Final opportunity, the best of 3, and this is the third match in this second heat of the semi-final. So here they are, Lee Hoffman and Thomas Cornish. They've redrawn for their starting position, and that means that Cornish is on the inside and Hoffman is on the outside. Third and final opportunity now. Only one of these riders will take a place in the gold and silver medal final. So you can expect perhaps a more cautious approach to this one. No slower at the start though, no particular tactical battle being deployed. It is still Thomas Cornish on the front, who is trying to shake off the attentions of Lee Hoffman. Hoffman using the height of the track. That's what Cornish did in the previous heat to deliver him the victory. So Hoffman trying to emulate that. Cornish has been sticking resolutely to the bottom part of the track, below that red sprinter's line. Hoffman has got a big gap to close here as he goes into the final half lap. Cornish has the lead as he comes into the scoreboard. Hoffman has got a big gap to close into the finishing straight. He won't get there. And across the line in first place and going into the gold and silver medal final is Thomas Cornish, overhauling Lee Hoffman by 2 matches to 1. So the gold and silver medal final in the men's sprint will be contested between Thomas Cornish of Australia and Cezary Laszkowski of Poland. And the bronze medal will be played out between Lee Hoffman of Australia and Jakub Staszny of the Czech Republic. And that one will be coming up a little bit later. Final, of course, also best of three. So it's been another nail biter, I think. There is confirmation of that lineup. Laszkowski and Cornish for the gold, Staszny and Hoffman for the bronze. So we now move on to the competition in the women's individual pursuit, and to tell you how this one will play out, here is our quick guide to individual pursuiting.
In the individual pursuit, riders with the two best times ride off in the final for gold and silver. The next two fastest riders ride off in the final for bronze and fourth place. One rider starts on each side of the track and they race each other and the clock. The winner is determined by either catching the other rider or by recording the fastest time.
So the women's individual pursuit finals. The top four riders to emerge from the qualification round earlier today will contest the medal rides. The first, of course, will be for the bronze medal between Marie Lenné of France and her opponent Sophie Edwards of Australia. And the battle for the gold and silver medal, the Omnium champion Vittoria Guazzini of Italy will take on the Omnium silver medalist Daria Malakova of the Russian Federation. That is the gold and silver medal final, but it's bronze medal final first. Marie Lenné of France posted a 2:22.346 in qualification this morning. That was the fourth fastest qualification time. Sophie Edwards 2:22.577. In fact, just swap that around. Lenné's time was the third fastest qualification time, and Edwards the fourth. That's why she starts in the back straight. And there she is, Marie Lenné, in the colours of the French team, coming out onto the track. So just 0.2 of a second between these two in qualification earlier today. World record for this discipline was set in Montichiari in Italy during the World Championships last year. Les Andrews of New Zealand, 2:18.080 is the current world record. There is the rider from Australia in the back straight. There is Andres Gensheimer from Germany, our commissaire, with the flag in hand in the home straight. So the women's individual pursuit final for the bronze medal. Riders into the final few seconds of countdown. Our split screen view there, showing you Lenné in the home straight and Edwards in the back straight. Good start from both riders. Stood up until the gear is turning effectively, then they'll take a seat and adopt the more aerodynamic, stretched out position that is so familiar for the individual pursuiters. Two kilometres the distance for this competition for the junior women, which equates to 10 laps of the Aigle velodrome. Give you our first time check at the completion of the first kilometre. The on-screen graphic also gives you a clue to the rider who is in the lead position, who is currently French rider by 0.644 of a second. And our Sophie Edwards of Australia. Early days yet, not yet reached the halfway point. Our split screen view also showing you the relative positions of the riders. They will occasionally glance across the track, also to give themselves a similar idea where their opponent is. Also, of course, aided by the coach at trackside. Riders riding to a schedule to ensure that they have got sufficient reserves of energy to deliver that final couple of laps. Very often setting off at a pace that will increase towards the end of the ride, rather than going all out right from the start and then suddenly finding yourself dropping back towards the end. At the moment, it is still the French rider who had that marginally faster qualification time this morning by literally 0.2 of a second, and that is just over the advantage currently held by Lené of France against Edwards of Australia. Opening kilometre was 1:13.601 for Lené and 1:14.200 for Edwards. So can the Australian come back against French rider here? Laps ticking away. Covered 1,800 metres, just 200 metres to go. 1 lap of the track remaining, 0.387 is the deficit, and it has now swung the other way. So Edwards of Australia beginning to turn the screw here. She saved her best work for the final lap of the pursuit, and with it will collect the bronze medal in a time for Australia of 2:22.444. And Lené of France just fading towards the end, 2:22.996. Again, just 0.5 of a second separating those two. But this time, that all-important difference is the difference between taking a step onto the podium and collecting a medal and not. And it is the bronze medal that will be taken by Sophie Edwards of Australia. Well, that was an absolutely ideal demonstration of what I was talking about. Edwards was behind for the majority of that one. Just ratcheted up the effort in the last 2 laps in order to overhaul her opponent and deliver the victory by the slenderest of margins, 0.5 of a second. So a very well-matched final for the bronze medal, and a very well-judged ride from Sophie Edwards of Australia. So we move now to the ride for the gold and silver medals, and as I mentioned in our introduction, these 2 riders have already been on the podium in the Omnium just yesterday here at the World Cycling Centre. And the rider who will start in the home straight, who was the fastest qualifier this morning, is the newly crowned Omnium champion yesterday from Italy, Vittoria Guazzini will start in the home straight. And in the back straight, the rider who finished in the silver medal position in the Omnium, representing the Russian Federation, is Daria Malkova. Comparison of the qualification times this morning. As I mentioned, Guazzini was the faster qualifier, but only by literally 0.2 of a second. So that was also another very closely fought battle in the qualification round. This really could be either rider's race. And when those 10 seconds have elapsed, we will find out who makes the best start. Well, both away. Of course, the individual pursuit used to be a component of the Omnium, the days when it included events for both endurance riders and riders who specialise in the time trial discipline. These days, of course, it's pretty much an endurance event, but pursuiters don't mind that too much. And of course, both Guazzini and Malkova medalists in the Omnium. They're now looking to take a medal. They both will, but which way round it'll be is the battle. Will Guazzini pick up her second gold of these championships? Can Malkova go faster? At the moment, it's advantage for Guazzini by 0.609 of a second. So the bronze medal final was decided by a handful of tenths of a second. This may well go to the same kind of way. The pattern of the gold medal final, well, the eventual winner started slower than her opponent. Would on this occasion favour Malkova, but Guazzini showed herself to be a very powerful rider indeed, taking great finishes in every single discipline in the Omnium yesterday. 1.138, so the gap has got bigger here, and Malkova under pressure. Guazzini with a more sizable lead than we have seen for this women's individual pursuit finals. 1:13.568 for the first kilometre, plays 1:14.424 for Malkova. So work to do here for the rider from the Russian Federation. Has she got a plan to deliver a knockout blow in the final couple of laps? Well, as the gap is now more than 2 seconds, it is looking less and less likely that Goazini, the Omnium champion, is going to be denied also being the individual pursuit world champion as well. 2 laps to go, 1.5 in fact, as they come around this time. 4.105, and Goazini has almost got Malkova in her sights here. Well, Malkova is pedalling squares, and Goazini is bearing down upon the catch. Going to happen before they come to the conclusion of this one. Goazini catches her opponent. Well, it was a great ride from Vittoria Goazini. Very dissimilar indeed to the qualification times we saw this morning, certainly for Daria Malkova of the Russian Federation. Some 10 seconds slower than she was in the qualification ride, and when you're battling for a medal, that just won't do. So she will still take the silver, of course, finishing second to Vittoria Goazini, but it's another goal for Italy, and the individual pursuit champion for the junior women is Vittoria Goazini. Silver for Daria Malkova, and the bronze for Sophie Edwards of Australia. Well, more noisy celebrations erupt here inside the World Cycling Centre. Someone's guilty of selling some very noisy horns somewhere in these parts. Someone's been out to buy them all. All adds to the atmosphere. And we will look forward to the next action on the track. We'll see the victory ceremony, by the way, for that individual pursuit final just a little bit later. In fact, just after the first matches in the men's sprint finals. Bronze medal final will be conducted first. Again, it's best of 3. And it'll be Jakub Šťastný of the Czech Republic versus Lee Hoffman of Australia, the defeated semi-finalists. Šťastný losing out to Cezary Laszkowski in 2 straight rides. Lee Hoffman involved in 3 rides before his countryman Thomas Cornish got the better of him. So he's had a little bit more effort involved in his journey here to this gold medal final. Once again, the riders drawing for the starting positions. Šťastný in the pale blue of the Czech Republic, the name of a well-known car manufacturer, proudly displayed on the Czech Republic jersey. And the Australian in the white with the yellow and green stripes around the top for Australia. There is the latest technology, no longer a pack of playing cards, but a touchscreen device. And that shows that Lee Hoffman has drawn the inside position, and he will be obliged to lead for the first half lap, unless, of course, his opponent, Jakub Šťastný, decides to take the lead himself. So the bikes lined up, ready to go at the side of the track. Out come the riders, climbing the steps to the top that bring them through the gate and onto track side. Best of 3 for the bronze medal final in the men's sprint. Šťastný, Kirin champion, on an earlier day of these championships. And it's Hoffman who is wheeled into position first. Here's the rider who drew the inside position when you saw the draw a few moments ago, and delivered just above him on the start line is his opponent, Jakub Šťastný of the Czech Republic. Attempting to stare out his opponent, but of course both riders with one-way visors on the front of the helmets, so all they see is the reflection of their opponents in the opposing side. But off we go. Both riders experimenting with a little bit of height gain and then a more rapid descent. Hoffman, who drew that inside position, is still leading, craning his neck either way to see if Staszny is about to unleash an attacking move. That's the benefit of being in second wheel in the sprint. The element of surprise very much on your side. Staszny first to accelerate, draws level with Hoffman as they come into the scoreboard. It'll be 1 lap to go on the line this time. Staszny of the Czech Republic goes ahead of Hoffman. Hoffman now has to dig in and try and hold on to that wheel of Staszny, but Staszny is going clear as they go down the back straight, out the saddle to inject more pace. The Czech Republic rider is going to make this the first match his own. So Staszny takes the first match, goes 1 up against Lee Hoffman of Australia in the gold medal final. A fine example of power sprinting there. Staszny used the slipstream of Hoffman, came around the outside, just the right moment, and came cleanly through to deliver a decisive victory. So more excitement for our Australian fans, because we also have interest for Australia in the gold and silver medal final. In the form of Thomas Cornish, who overcame Lee Hoffman at the third attempt in the sprint semi-finals just a few minutes ago. And now he'll line up against Cezary Laszkowski, the team sprint silver medalist from Poland, in the first of a potential 3 matches for the gold and silver medal ride. So Thomas Cornish comes to the track. He drew the inside position when the tablet was presented to him. Laszkowski on the outside. Laszkowski favouring a see-through visor both ways, not just one. The visor on Cornish's helmet, just reflecting the track surface. Away they go. Cornish showed a good deal of determination and pace in overcoming Hoffman, and they're going to need to do that again, because Laszkowski, as he did in the semi-finals against Jakub Staszny, has gone on to the front almost immediately. He took the decider in the semis by literally going for the gun, using the height of the banking and launching away from his opponent. Trying the same thing here. Cornish not quite so easy to shake off, but it's still an advantage for Laszkowski with a lap to go. The Polish rider looking good here. Rapid pedalling from Cornish has closed the gap. As he left it too late, though, Cornish still got ground to make up on Laszkowski as they come towards the line. It's Poland on the inside who will take that. So Laszkowski goes 1 match to the good, but Cornish not too far behind. And that'll make for an interesting second match when we bring that to you just a little bit later. But for now, it is first blood for Cezary Laszkowski of Poland against Thomas Cornish of Australia. So that sprint competition will continue. Riders will get a little bit of respite now, because not only do we have the women's individual pursuit victory ceremony next to come, but they've also then got the men's Omnium points race before they're called upon to come to the track for match 2 in those sprint finals. The men's Omnium point race upcoming after this medal ceremony will contest over 100 laps of the track. 20 kilometres with 10 sprints. More of that when we get to it, but first of all we will bring you the women's individual pursuit victory ceremony. "45 nations took the start of these championships on Wednesday. Here we are on Saturday afternoon now, going into Saturday evening. Just after 25 past 6 here in Aigle. And we're just bringing forward the riders on the presentation party for the victory ceremony. Some interesting musical accompaniment here in the venue sound system, which I did briefly think might have been some kind of an alarm, but no one's run out of the building, so I shall stay seated as well. Final day of action tomorrow, of course, and those of you who are fans of the Madison, we've got both men's and women's Madison finals to bring these championships to a conclusion here tomorrow. And speaking of championships, we mentioned a little bit earlier for you, the European Championships get underway here in Aigle at the World Cycling Centre on Tuesday of next week, so just a day to rejig the velodrome here, ready for battle in the European Junior Championships. There are 3 medal winners ready for the presentation ceremony. You see Vittoria Guazzini bearing the scars of several encounters with the track, not more so than during the elimination race in the Omnium yesterday, which she went on to win, not only the elimination but the Omnium overall. But we all know that cyclists are made of pretty stern stuff. Bounce back pretty quickly. And it's another gold medal for Vittoria Guazzini of Italy. Presentation party in position with the medals, the jersey and the flowers. Once again, Renato De Rocco will be the presenter of the medals and the jersey. Member of the UCI Management Committee, Vice President of the UCI, and also member and Chairman of the Track Commission. And the rider who will receive the bronze medal representing Australia is Sophie Edwards. Silver medal, second silver medal of the championships for the rider from Russian Federation, Daria Malkova. And to collect her second gold medal to add to the Omnium title from yesterday, representing Italy, the junior world champion for the women's individual pursuit, is Vittoria Guazzini. Well, actually, I shall give credit to the director of our TV coverage, just reminding me she also was a gold medalist in the women's team pursuit as well, so actually the third gold medal of these championships, even better for Vittoria Guazzini. Italy definitely having a good time here at these Junior World Championships. Flowers also being presented. Of course, to the gold medalist. Shake of the hand as well. Time now for, once again, the Italian national anthem. for the Italians to celebrate. Vittoria Guazzini, the junior women's individual pursuit champion of the world. Second place for Daria Malkova of the Russian Federation, and third place for Sophie Edwards of Australia. So as the strains of the Italian national anthem again ring around the World Cycling Centre, we get ourselves ready for the next competitive action on these Siberian pine boards of the World Cycling Centre. It is, of course, the men's Omnium point race. It's the final element of the men's Omnium. And going into this one, the lead of 6 points will be Donovan Grandin from France, 102 points scored in the previous 3 elements of the Omnium. Fredrik Wandal of Denmark with 96, along with Corbin Strong of New Zealand. Blake Quick of Australia is currently lying in 3rd place with a total of 96 points, so same point score as Wandal of Denmark. Corbin of New Zealand on 96 as well. So the score for Blake of Australia, 92. So that's the current standings for the top 4 riders. Fabio van den Bosch of Belgium is 5th overall. He's got 82 points. So this point race final run off over a total distance of 20 kilometres, which equates to 100 laps of the track. 10 sprints, counting for 5, 3, 2 and 1 points, all bar the final one, which will have double points awarded. And as you're probably used to by now, been with us for the past couple of days, a lap gain in the point race will credit you with a further 20-point score. And that can make all the difference between winning and losing, as we've seen in both the men's and women's point race finals and the women's Omnium point race yesterday. So the bikes for the riders in this competition lined up on the railings, ready to come out onto the track, along with the riders. Half of them will line up at the fence, the other at the bottom of the track, where they'll be supported by a helper until the start is given. So Donovan Grandin of France, pretty consistent performance across the previous 3 disciplines. His worst element was the tempo race, where he was in the 8th across the line. 2nd in the scratch race, 2nd in the elimination race. And by virtue of that, total point score of 102. You get 40 for winning the scratch, tempo and elimination sections. And of course, all the points you amassed during the point race added to that total to give you the overall standings. Fredrik Wandal of Denmark, winner of the scratch race, 9th in the tempo race, 5th in the elimination race. And Corbin Strong, 3rd place for New Zealand. It's the best performance so far in the elimination race, where he was the last rider to go, finishing in 3rd place. So all the riders emerging onto the track here. Our officials now to sort them into the right order. They will line up in the order of the Omnium standings. The rider who leads the competition in the first row. Then on the opposite side on the fence will be the rider in 2nd spot, and then so on down the line. All 20 riders still going in this Omnium competition, despite an on-screen graphic you might have seen earlier in the day that Korea, young Kyun Park, who is in 15th place currently. Right at the bottom of the standings, Alexei Fomovsky of Uzbekistan, just 14 points scored across the previous 3 disciplines. So a lot of work for him to do to put up a challenge here for Uzbekistan. Ricardo Broxham, another rider to keep your eye on. He was the one who very audaciously took a lap gain right at the beginning of the tempo race, even before the individual sprint laps had begun, gaining 20 points and an unassailable lead in the very early part of that one. Not quite so successful in the elimination race, where he only finished in 15th place, and a relatively poor showing, also 15th in the scratch race, means that Broxham is currently 12th overall in the Omnium standings, but you can expect him to maybe try his hands another lap gain, maybe in the early stages of this point race, to try and move himself up the standings by picking up 20 points early in the proceedings. So Grandin of France, the race leader, Omnium points leader, at the front of the riders and the fence. The rider in second place, Fredrik Wandal of Denmark, at the front of the row, riders at the bottom of the track. 100 laps on the lap board, 10 sprints to decide the World Junior Omnium Champion for 2018. So just a couple of moments before the start will be given. Riders will have a rolling lap, and then, assuming they're still all together in a group to the satisfaction of our starter, the gun will be fired. They'll be underway for 100 laps of action. Just a little bit of attention being given to Maxim Grichin of Kazakhstan's bike before he takes his position, the last rider to line up here. All present and correct now. So the whistle will get them underway. We've seen some great points racing in both Omnium and individual championships over the last couple of days. I'm sure this one will be no less exciting either. The gun is held aloft, all riders are together, and the race is underway. 100 laps for the point race. The man who was last to come to the start line is first to come to the front. The pale blue and yellow, Kazakhstan. But Germany now taking up the lead position for Nils Weispinning of Germany, latching onto his wheel, seeing as an opportunity to gain some ground. The Swiss rider Nicola Di Lissi. Little split at the front now. Two more riders want part of it. That's German Weispinning, I mentioned a few moments ago, who was the instigator of the move initially. Kazakhstan there, Switzerland there, and the fourth member of that small group with the advantage is Zanis Mazur of Belarus. Gap then back to the main field, headed by Lebsaritsa of the Russian Federation. So up there is Yongkyung Park of Korea. 5 laps away from the opening sprint. 4 leading riders continuing to cooperate at the moment to maintain the advantage they have gained, which is currently about a quarter of a lap ahead of the chasing group. That pace will become more insistent as the sprint draws ever nearer. It also will cause more riders to start to split off the front of the main field in pursuit. That is exactly what has happened with both Italy and Mexico, ahead of Australia and South Africa. As they go into the back straight, those 4 leaders are in danger of being caught here, leaving just Germany and Switzerland at the front with 1 lap to go to the sprint. So strong support here for Nicola Di Lissi, the home rider here in Switzerland, and Nils Weispinning, who took 2nd place in that sprint. 3rd going to South Africa and 4th for Australia. So Di Lissi with 5, Weispinning with 3, Broxham of South Africa with 2, and Quick of Australia with 1. Bloxham is the man who comes to the front. Joining him up there is the British representative in this race, William Tidball. Tidball lying in 10th place in the Omnium standing with 72 points scored. That first sprint had no bearing on the standings at the top of the table. Grandal failing to score, but still at the top with 102 points. Van Daal also without points in that first sprint. He's still second with 96, along with Corbin Strong. Blake Quick, the best rider in the top of the classification, who benefited from points in that sprint. He was in fourth place. Now one more point in with 93 to his total. Just 3 minutes of racing completed so far. And 86 laps still to go. Belgium and the Netherlands now go on the attack as they come towards the line this time. In fact, it's Colombia, not Belgium. Very similar colours for these two teams have adopted at the moment. Belgians at the front of the chasing group, along with Will Tidball of Great Britain. So it's Netherlands and Colombia on the attack currently. The Dutch rider there is Casper van Uden, and the rider from Colombia, Nicolas Gomez. Quite a few of these riders carrying a warning in this points race from indiscretions committed in other elements of the Omnium. Broxham is one of them, so too Gomez, Will Tidball, Corbin Strong, Tommaso Nincini of Italy all have a W against the name, so a second one of those and they will be out of the race. 82 to go. Be 81 for the leaders, who are once again into the finishing straight. Half a lap advantage. Well, they look well set here for the points in the sprint. And if the main field decelerate following their sprint, they could well get on for the lap as well. It is Italy who accelerate away at the head of the chasing group for Tommaso Nincini. But Gomez gets maximum points for Colombia. 3 points for Van Uden of the Netherlands. The 2-point score should be credited to Nincini of Italy. Indeed it is, and Broxham of South Africa adds another point as he picks up the place as well. The head of the race, the two riders are underneath the scoreboard at the end of the finishing straight here, and they are not quite able to gain the lap yet. 3 riders give chase: South Africa, Mexico and Italy. But it is not far away from Colombia and the Netherlands gaining the lap. They are almost there now. 20 points will come with that lap gain. 3 riders now become the head of the race. That is South Africa, Mexico and Italy. And points awarded, 20 points each to those 2 riders gaining the lap. Nicolas Gomez of Colombia and Casper van Uden of the Netherlands. So Gomez, the better place of the two now. He moves up into 5th place with 87 points to his credit. Van Uden languishing down in 15th place, still 49 points. That's added 20 more to his score that he brought into this point race final though. So now it's Belgium on the attack in a leader group that's increased in size. 5 riders strong now. Chase opens a gap, splits the main field into 3. Belgium on the front, followed by Kazakhstan, Italy, Mexico and South Africa. Chase at the head of the main field, being animated by Denmark. Frederik Ovandel still lying second with 96 points, along with Corbin Strong of New Zealand. But that attacking move did not continue, and the main field regroup. They're all back into one group just at the moment as Australia begin to apply the pressure on the front. There is 1 lap to go to the sprint. It's Australia versus France for the points. New Zealand trying to get up there in the mix as well, along with Switzerland. The New Zealanders trying to go underneath the other 2 riders. I don't think there's room for him to do that. Our commentators are keeping a very careful eye on that one. But meanwhile, on the front is Australia from France. New Zealand are just hanging on there for 3rd place, maybe just getting the better of the Korean rider as they came to the line. So Blake Quick gets the 5 for Australia. Young Kun Park gets 3 for Korea. Grandin of France gets 2 for himself, and Corbin Strong, the New Zealander, who tried to sneak underneath, finished in 4th place with 1 point in that sprint. So Park of the team of Korea is now on the front. So we're looking now at the top of the points table. Still Donovan Grandin of France is at the right at the top of the standings, but Quick of Australia moves up now into 2nd place. 98 points he has now to his credit, ahead of Corbin Strong in 3rd place. He's got 97, and Frederik Vandal drops down to 4th for Denmark, 96 points to him. So he definitely needs some points to try and keep his medal hopes alive. Colombian Gomez still in 5th place with 87 points on the board. 66 laps remaining. as the rider from Belarus is off the back, the rider who has come to the front of the race and gained the lead position here is Alexei Fomovsky of Uzbekistan. He too needs all the points he can get. He's languishing towards the bottom of the standings, in fact 20th place for him. His time at the front will be short-lived because Italy have once again made an attacking move here with Tommaso Nincini coming to the head of the race now. Nincini in the blue colours of Italy, the great championships they're having. And, he is currently placed in the Omnium standings in 12th spot with 68 points. So he can well do with taking some points in the next sprint, which is 2 laps away. Will Tidball of Great Britain takes his turn on the front. Little look over his shoulder. Can't quite believe he got the gap he got so rapidly. Bell this time with 1 lap to go to the sprint. France giving chase, but Tidball of Great Britain on the front. 3rd spot for Denmark. Vandal is very aware of the fact he just slipped out of the medals after that last sprint. He's determined not to make the mistake this time around. As we come towards the line, it'll be maximum points for France, 2nd place for Denmark, 3rd for New Zealand. Still just the 2 riders with the lap gain so far, Gomez of Colombia and Van Uden of the Netherlands. So Grandin of France gets 5, Vandal 3, Strong for New Zealand 2, and Tidball of Great Britain 1 point in 4th place. So Vandal moves back into 2nd place now, tying on points with Corbin Strong of New Zealand, 1 point ahead of Blake Quick of Australia, who's down to 4th spot. Still Donovan Grandin holds on to a lead. It is an advantage of 10 points ahead of 2nd place Vandal and Strong. 57 laps to go, 7 away from the next sprint. Again, a leading group of 4 riders with a very small advantage. Australian making his way across that group as well. That is Blake Quick makes the lead group 5. 2 more riders add onto it as well. Once again, the race is split into numerous groups around the track. The leading group just going into the back straight with France and Denmark at the head of it. Little chase group here being drawn up to the rear of that group by the rider from Germany and Belgium. Netherlands also in that group, latching on along with Colombia, and the Mexicans give chase along with Kazakhstan, South Africa and Switzerland. The Italian lost a little bit of ground. He joins up to the back of that next group. That leaves Will Tidball leading the next group in line, and we're seeing an attacking move here from Frederik Vandal of Denmark. Vandal, the head of the race now, has gone away from the group he was with at the front of the race, so regrouping behind, just leaving that group of 3 plus the Korean, who looks as though his race may be over. Korean just turning off the track there in the back straight. Not sure if it's a mechanical problem or he's just his strength has gone. But as Vandal continues the effort on the front for Denmark, no sense of urgency here for the Korean, so I think he has retired from the action. So we are down to 19 riders contesting this point race final in the men's Omnium. So in trouble here, 2 riders off the back. Will Tidball for Great Britain is one of them, and in danger of seeing the leaders coming up to them. The rider who's at the back there is also the Belarusian, along with Tidball. Rider for Belarus, Zanis Mazur. Tidball swings up, realises fate. They're shortly to lose a lap, so he can drop back in. He'll be minus 20 points. So too will be Mazur of Belarus. He too is losing the lap now. Main field once again pretty much all back together. Just 1 rider significantly off the back. That's Fomovsky of Uzbekistan. Also slightly detached, the Russian Federation rider Gleb Syritsa. Syritsa, bronze medalist in the individual pursuit. But the distance beginning to take its toll here in the point races. Once again, Bloxham of South Africa mounts an attack on the front. 47 to go, 7 away from the next sprint. Bloxham has company. It is the Mexican rider who has gone with him. That is Ricardo Gutierrez of Mexico. Bloxham is in 12th spot, 67 points. Gutierrez in 17th with just 32 points on the board. So neither of them any particular threat to those riders at the top of the classification currently. They've joined up with Fomovsky, who is the rider at the back of the race. So the two riders here, the South African and the Mexican, are the riders at the head of the race. Famivski is in the midst of losing a lap, and at the main field here, next in line with 44 laps to go, Denmark, New Zealand and Switzerland take the lead positions there. Well, Tidball towards the front, but of course he recently lost 20 points, that lap loss, along with Mazur of Belarus. So the head of the race, two riders of the three coming into the finishing straight. It's Broxham of South Africa and Gutierrez of Mexico. And here comes the main field with 42 laps to go. Russian Federation rider Syriza, we saw struggling a few moments ago, has found another reserve of strength. And Broxham and Gutierrez are very close to the lap gain here. Broxham looks as though he's setting himself up for the 5 points on the line. It'll be 5 for Broxham, it'll be 3 for Gutierrez of Mexico. The remaining points will be on the front of the chasing peloton. It'll be 2 for Australia and 1 point for Colombia. Well, that acceleration in the main field has once again distanced Broxham from the potential lap gain. Also trying to encourage the rider from Uzbekistan to drop off the back of that one. Of course, he is the rider who is lagging in the race. He is not one of the two trying to gain the lap. Broxham, though, is and will do. So, as we saw in the tempo race, although a little bit later in the proceedings, it looks as though the South African rider there, Ricardo Broxham, has gained the lap. He's on the back of the main field. So the head of the race now is the Mexican rider in the home straight. Number 47 is Ricardo Gutierrez. Broxham credited with the 20 points and the lap gain. That will propel him up the standings into 5th place. 92 points now for Ricardo Broxham of South Africa. Mexico ahead of the race, was 5 away from the next sprint. Australia and Colombia at the front of the chasing peloton. Little attacking move here from the Dutch rider, dropping down into the well of the track. That's Casper van Uden. And with that, the leader has been caught. So too the lagging rider, who now has lost his lap as the main field have caught him. So minus 24 for Movski. And most recently gaining the lap, of course, Ricardo Broxham of South Africa. So a little bit of a lull in proceedings currently, 33 laps remaining. Leaderboard still topped by Donovan Grondin as the way we started this race. He's got a 5-point buffer ahead of Frederik Vandal of Denmark. Second was 104. Blake Quick third for Australia with 103. Corbin Strong for New Zealand with 99. And Ricardo Broxham gone all the way from 12th to 5th place by virtue of that lap gain. He's on 92 points, 2 clear of Nicolas Gomez of Colombia, who lies in 6th place. Bell this time, 30-lap sprint shortly to be played out. One complete group of riders in the main field currently. The French and Australian riders trying to find a way around here, but it's the Polish rider on the front who will pick up maximum points in that sprint. That was Damian Paperski. And as they swing up following the sprint, the attack continues from Australia, New Zealand, the Netherlands and Belgium. But Paperski makes sure that the main field don't lose ground on those leaders. So proving more difficult now to get away. The only rider who has continued with the effort to gain the lap following that rush of activity is the rider you see now at the head of the race. That is Fabian van der Bosch of the Belgian team. Little look behind him. Once again, little group splits off the front of the main field and pursues him. Denmark, Italy, Russian Federation and Switzerland are the pursuers. They catch him. So leading group now of 5 riders. France in the gap along with New Zealand, Australia and the Colombian rider also trying to latch onto that one. Leading group coming out of corner 3 and underneath the scoreboard with 25 laps remaining in this men's Omnium final. It's all to play for here. Just a 4-point lead for Grondin at the top of the table ahead of Quick of Australia. He's got 106 and he's just 2 points ahead of Vandal of Denmark, who's got 104. 5 points clear of Corbin Strong of New Zealand, who lies in 4th place. And it is Vandal of Denmark, 3rd place at the moment, who has a small advantage at the head of the race. We've got 3 laps to go to the sprint. In fact, 4 laps to go to the sprint this time round. No, 3 laps, I thought it was. Blackboard a little bit late to change. There we go, 23 laps remaining for the rider at the head of the race. Australia in second spot there for Blake Quick. And Quick now the rider in second spot with 106, 2 points ahead of Wandel, but Wandel looking for the 5 points on the line in 2 laps' time. Ricardo Broxham in that lap gain that brought him into contention for a medal is currently in second place on the track. Still Wandel of Denmark, but Broxham leading the chase in the main field. New Zealand and France go underneath him as we come around here with 5 points for Wandel of Belgium. That'll do very nicely, thank you. Denmark, I should say, for Wandel. Belgian rider who was making the ring has dropped back and failed to score in that sprint. So Wandel of Denmark gets 5, Gottinger of Austria for 3, Strong of New Zealand for 2, and Grandin of France, our race leader, 1 point. Moves him into a 3-point advantage ahead of nearest challenger, in fact 2 points ahead of Frederik Wandel of Denmark. So Grandin has 111, Wandel now has 109. Quick 106, Strong 101. Broxham a little further back with 92 points. We have got 2 sprints remaining. The final sprint, of course, counts for double points in this men's Omnium point race final. Still all to play for. So just a couple of points separating the medal positions at the front of the race now. We see Mazur of Belarus, along with rider from Mexico, who came so close to that lap gain earlier in the proceedings, didn't quite get there. And he is still languishing down in 16th place in the standings. He's currently second on the track at the moment. As the main field once again look around at each other, waiting for someone to chase these two. With 5 laps to go, Belarus and Mexico, both of whom need all the points they can muster in the closing part of this race, find themselves at the head of the race. So the Mexican starts to go clear of Mazur, Belarus. 13 to go. So those two will sweep up first and second place in the sprint if it remains that way. The next 2 laps of the track will bring us to our penultimate sprint. So it'll be points scored for Mexico and Belarus, but it won't affect the standings at the top of the medal table. So making his bid for glory here is Alexei Fomovsky. So those 3 have been let go because they're all down towards the bottom of the classification, but now the battle for the remaining point is being fought out between Netherlands, France and the rider from Denmark in second spot, Frederik Wandel. France failing to score in that one. They're back in the group here. So it was Ricardo Gutierrez of Mexico with 5 points. Azanis Mazur of Belarus with 3, Alexei Fomovsky of Uzbekistan with 2, and Casper van Uden of the Netherlands team with 1 point. The Danish rider Wandel still second with 109, Grandin still first with 111, Quick with 106 and Strong with 101. That's made no difference to the top 4 places, the result of that sprint. We've just got 7 laps to go, 1 sprint remaining, double points on the final lap. Will Tidball of Great Britain going backwards, but the Mexican rider still at the head of the race. He's only got 40 points, even the 10 from the final sprint win won't move him into contention for any honours in this men's Omnium. But behind, the battle for the other places is being played out here. The New Zealanders Strong trying to go forward, Kazakhstan go on the attack as well. That's Maxim Grichin. He too is languishing towards the bottom of the points table. He joins the Mexican. It's the chase with 5 laps to go. Will Tidball, Great Britain, is the man off the back. Head of the race is Kazakhstan, followed by now a move from the rider from Belgium, Fabien van den Bosch, got 83 points. 93, again, won't take him close enough to a medal at the end of this one. Kazakhstan still on the front. The rider from New Zealand, though, he's moved himself up. That is Corbin Strong. He's got 101 points. 10 will give him 111, and would a tie with the French rider Grandin, who is further down the string. And of course, if there's an equality of points, it is the rider with the best place in the final sprint who will profit. So New Zealand on the front. They need to keep that position for another 2 laps. Oh, and a crash there brings down Broxham of South Africa. Rider who did so well to move up the standings won't complete the race. He's on the floor, but just 1 lap to go. And now it is Poland who come to the head of the race. France in second place. This is looking. Oh, another crash towards the back, and 3 more riders affected here. But at the front, coming towards the line, is going to be Poland from Colombia from France, and that should be enough for Donovan Grandin of France to secure victory. A dramatic final lap with riders tumbling all around the track. Damian Paperski of Poland took the 10 points. Nicolas Gomez of Colombia the 6. Donovan Grandin of France 4. And Fredrik Vandal of Denmark 2. And that will give victory to Donovan Grandin of France with 115 points. Fredrik Vandal will take second place, 111 for Denmark, and third place will go to Australia. Blake Quick with 106 points will give the bronze medal to the Australians. Corbin Strong not quite able to get there in that final sprint. He'll finish in 4th place for New Zealand. There are the standings at the end of that race. Numerous riders being caught up in that couple of crashes in that final lap as they all vied for position, but coming clear at the front, picking up 4 points, and it was enough to secure victory for Donovan Grandin of France. Fredrik Vandal went into the race in 2nd spot and came out of it in the same place. Silver medal for him. And Blake Quick of Australia, well, he overhauled Corbin Strong of New Zealand. Those two were vying for the bronze medal at the start of this point race, and it will be Quick who takes it. His buffer 5 points ahead of Strong of New Zealand. So that is the Australian Blake Quick, bronze medalist. The French camp celebrating as well they might. Blake Quick already, of course, bronze medalist in the men's team pursuit a couple of days ago. And of course, Donovan Grandin also silver medal in the team pursuit. So the teams gather around to celebrate the riders, particularly those who have gained the medal. What was an action-packed point race. So we'll see the celebrations and the podium presentations for that very shortly. So the remaining medals to be decided this evening are in the men's sprint competition, and it's that that we will return to in just a few moments' time. 23 minutes of racing for those 100 laps in the Omnium point race final. Average speed of just over 52 kilometres per hour. So more track repairs required. Corner 2 here at the World Cycling Centre definitely has been in the wars over recent days. Sporting quite a lot of repair tape now, and the repairs necessary before we can bring the sprinters back. So the men's sprint, we're at the match 2 situation, and the ride for the bronze medal between Jakob Stajny and Lee Hoffman, 2 riders who emerge onto track side here. Well, just hearing via the venue commentator here that second warning was issued to the Colombian rider Gomez during that melee in the final few laps, and as I mentioned, at the beginning of our commentary on that Omnium point race. Quite a few riders carrying a warning, and when you get a second, you are disqualified. So I can tell you that I just heard that Gomez of Colombia has received a second warning for his conduct, and so he'll be disqualified from that 5th place finish in the Omnium competition. So here come our sprinters. Well, not quite yet, because the track repairs are still ongoing. So they're just taking a moment just to relax a little at the side of the track. The nerves will be getting a little bit close to the surface for these two. It's decision time for Lee Hoffman. He has to beat Jakub Staszny this time. Otherwise, it'll be 2 straight rides and a bronze medal for Jakub Staszny, the Kirin champion. So the riders will start in the reverse order to that they drew for the first match. So I think we're just about completed our repairs in the back straight. Just checking there's nowhere else that was affected. And that's a quick fire succession of crashes in the last couple of laps of that point race. So still Jakub Staszny and Lee Hoffman patiently waiting here in the home straight. I'll be hoping it won't be too long a delay. I've been sitting down there in track centre whilst the 100 lap point race final in the Omnium was taking place. As the laps ticked down, they knew they were getting closer and closer to the moment they would be back on track on the second match of this bronze medal final. Now being called forward to the line by our starter. So this time it'll be Staszny of the Czech Republic who will start on the inside, and Hoffman of Australia on the outside. Staszny, winner of match 1. Hoffman needs this one to take it to a decider. Both riders ready. The whistle will get them underway. So Lee Hoffman, outpaced by Staszny last time, who came from second spot to take the win. Hoffman has the benefit of being in second place this time, using the full height of the track here, trying to throw his opponent off the scent. Now he draws level, so going to the back straight with a lap and a half to go. Hoffman again goes into a higher position on the track. Staszny hanging onto that sprinter's line. Hoffman launches himself at the back wheel once more, but Staszny again showing the great turn of pace that not only gave him the Kirin title but also gave him victory in the first match, and it looks like he has the beating of Lee Hoffman for a second time. So Jakub Staszny of the Czech Republic in 2 straight rides will be the recipient of the bronze medal in the men's sprint competition. Celebrations for the Czech camp, commiserations for the Australians. But of course, they still have a medal in this sprint. Will it be gold or silver? Well, that will depend very much on the outcome of the next match on the track. That is the battle for the gold and silver medals between Cezary Laszkowski and Thomas Cornish. Meanwhile, the 2 combatants in the bronze medal final exchange handshake. And Jakub Staszny adds to his Kirin gold by taking a sprint bronze. So to the battle for the gold and silver medals. Cezary Laszkowski of Poland, the winner of the first of them. Rider who was during the preceding heats of the sprint and the semi-finals as well, shown that he likes to take it on from the front. Thomas Cornish, he too has a good turn of pace, as evidenced in that battle he had with Lee Hoffman to secure this gold medal final ride. So inside position this time is Cezary Laszkowski of Poland. Cornish of Australia on the outside, looking at each other. Whites of the eyes. And away we go. So Laszkowski, with the benefit of the lead position which he favours, is out of the saddle already, trying to keep the gap he's opened ahead of Cornish. Cornish, as we saw with Hoffman in the previous heat, using the height of the track to aid him. Now he draws level with Laszkowski as he comes to the back straight. Cornish on the outside, he's got a slightly longer way to go around, but he's got a half-wheel advantage coming into the scoreboard. It is coming to the line here, and it's Laszkowski who will come through and take it on the line with a lap still to go. Well, the bell came very late there, but here comes Laszkowski this time. Laszkowski of Poland will get it ahead of Cornish of Australia. So in 2 straight rides, the gold medal is also decided. Cezary Laszkowski of Poland takes it ahead of Thomas Cornish of Australia, who will get the silver, and Jakub Staszny of the Czech Republic, with the rider who wins the bronze medal. So no necessity for a decider in either of those sprint finals. So that was the final competitive action on the track here today. You can see it again here as they came through with Laszkowski the advantage at the front ahead of Cornish, celebrating. Brave battle from Thomas Cornish. True level with Laszkowski, but Laszkowski accelerated again, and Cornish sportingly applauding his opponent, who got the better of him in that sprint final. So, those 2 victory ceremonies for the men's Omnium and the men's sprint will bring to a close our coverage of this penultimate day. Just take a few moments for the riders to complete the celebrations and make themselves available at the podium. It's the men's Omnium presentation first. Cezary Laszkowski is climbing up the track to greet friends and family in the crowd. No easy feat, I'll tell you, in cycling shoes, the cleats on the bottom, to walk up the track. Even better trying to come down it as well, but there you go, a kiss and a handshake and a hug for everyone there who's been cheering on Cezary Laszkowski, and they're going to see him very shortly take the top step on the podium, the gold medal and the World Junior Champions jersey. Taking a diagonal route back down the boards, as you can see, a little bit of slippage there. But he's safely back to the bottom of the track. More photos of the Polish flag, and a warm embrace as well at the side of the track. So well executed victory there from Cezary Laszkowski. 2 straight rides, defeating Thomas Cornish of Australia. So we'll be moving into our presentation for the men's Omnium. What a battle that was, with that point race coming down to the final sprint to confirm the medalists. Still seeing the ongoing celebrations of Laszkowski of Poland. Backdrop is in position, ready for our victory ceremony. France, Denmark and Australia will be the riders who will be taking a step towards the podium to receive the medals, and for Donovan Grandin of France, also the rainbow jersey of Junior World Champion. Just getting a congratulatory handshake there from Blake Quick of Australia. Blake Quick just getting a little bit of medical attention. He was involved in some of the action towards the end of that race of the crashing variety. Donovan Grandin, sitting in the middle there, looking pleased with the outcome of his day's work here, as well he might, as the new junior Omnium champion of the world. Silver in the men's team pursuit for Grandin. But the gold is even better. So first to receive his accolade will be the rider from Australia, Blake Quick. He'll receive the bronze medal.
Jerseys will be presented by Mr. Tom van Dam, member of the UCI Management Board.
The medal is presented by Tom van Dam, member of the UCI Management Committee.
Third place and winner of the bronze medal.
And here is the bronze medal for Blake Quick of Australia. Silver medal. It's a hard fight for Frederick Wandal, but Denmark get the silver. But the winner of the men's Omnium for France, who will receive the gold medal and the rainbow jersey, is Donovan Grandin of France. World Junior Omnium champion Donovan Grandin. So the flowers presented by Vice President of Swiss Cycling. Our host once again here for the Junior World Championships here in Aigle. Second time we brought them to you here from the home of the UCI. It's back in 2016 and once again this year. Of course, European Championships also here in a couple of days' time. And who knows, quite a few of these riders who are eligible for the European Championships may well taste further success in the week to come. But for now, the celebration will be to the tune of the French national anthem. So, arms held aloft, the Junior World Champion for the men's Omnium, Donovan Grandin of France, joined on the podium by Frederick Wandal of Denmark and Blake Quick of Australia. So next up will be the victory ceremony for the men's sprint competition that just concluded a few moments ago. And as the jersey signings take place as well, Santini, the provider of the official World Champions jerseys. So just to remind you, the final day of these championships is tomorrow. There are 3 medal winners for the sprint. Cezary Laszkowski, Thomas Cornish and Jakub Staszny. Action begins here at the velodrome in Aigle tomorrow morning, 11:30, with the qualification rounds for the women's keirin competition. Incidentally, if you've been watching our coverage during the last 4 days and are tempted, if you're within travelling distance of Aigle here in Switzerland, to pay a visit and watch the final day's action, entry is completely free. So starting at 11:30 tomorrow morning, we've also got action in the men's kilometre and qualification heats for the men's and women's Madison finals, which will take place during the course of tomorrow's afternoon session of racing, which begins at 4 o'clock. And we're also live once again here on the UCI YouTube and Facebook pages at 4 o'clock tomorrow, Central European time, for the final session of action here in these 2018 Junior World Championships. We are now ready now for the medal ceremony of the junior sprint men's competition. The UCI anthem is played. The medal party make their way to the podium, followed by the riders who are shortly to receive those very medals. So there's a close-up view of the bronze medal, and the rider who is about to receive it from the Czech Republic is Jakub Staszny. Medals will be presented by Tony Kirsch, member of the UCI Management Committee. Jakub Staszny, already keirin gold, now sprint bronze as well. In second place, to receive the silver medal, is Thomas Cornish from Australia. And then, of course, to the presentation not only of the gold medal, but also the World Junior Champions jersey. The winner of the junior men's sprint representing Poland is Cezary Laszkowski. So the top step of the podium is his to enjoy and to celebrate as the flowers will be presented now. Well, they actually haven't presented the flowers yet. So, oh no, oh dear. Slight preempting the national anthem. The flower presentation will precede the playing of the national anthem. So the Vice President of Swiss Cycling almost missed her moment there, but she gets to hand out the flowers, and then we will hear the national anthem of Poland. really will be the national anthem of Poland.
Ladies and gentlemen, have your attention now for the national anthem of Poland.
So there you go, our final medal ceremony of the day, the men's sprint title taken by Cezary Laszkowski of Poland, silver medal for Thomas Cornish of Australia, and the bronze for Jakub Staszny of the Czech Republic. So the riders just completing the obligatory photo shoot. They'll then head off to sign some souvenir jerseys for the world champion. And we have come to the end of another great day of action here, day 4 of these 2018 UCI Junior Track Cycling World Championships. And that man will be going home with the gold medal, no doubt firmly attached for the foreseeable future. Cezary Laszkowski, the Polish World Junior Sprint Champion. So there's the medal standings after the completion of the Actions Day. Italy now at the top of the medal table with 4 gold medals from these championships. Germany lies second, 3 golds and 2 bronze. France third with 2 golds, 1 silver and 1 bronze, ahead of the Republic of Korea and Poland. So that's the standings at the top of the medal table. Those are the standings towards the bottom of the medal table. And the 45 nations who represent the Junior World Championships here. And not everyone, of course, can take away a medal. So we'll look forward to the action that will be unfolding here in the Velodrome tomorrow. We mentioned it already. Begins here in the Velodrome at 11:30 tomorrow morning. Our live coverage from 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon on both our YouTube and Facebook channels. So we do hope you can join us for that. That is what you've got to look forward to. Women's Keirin, women's Madison, men's Madison, men's time trial, and all of that to happen during the course of the final session of racing tomorrow. We do hope you can join us here in Aigle at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, when it'll be our pleasure to bring you coverage of Day 5, the final day of the 2018 UCI Junior Track Cycling World Championships. Until then, we thank you very much for your coverage today. We hope you've enjoyed the action, and we look forward to welcoming you back here to Aigle tomorrow.
Championships